Welcome back to Rush of Madness. This is session number 20, entitled Phantoms. Last session, the group put a big hole in Cardend, and yeah, they escaped from going into that hole themselves. Um, After defeating the Tabaxi vampire family of the Lycoi, they have made it back to their hideout at the farm. Um, some folks are missing or dead, and they are taking the time to rest back up to full strength after seeing that the Denisovans are maneuvering out of Cardend, apparently, after the cataclysm. Uh, we have, obviously, plenty of time in between you finishing the long rest um, and doing the next day. I know there was some discussion in our in-character chat, some back and forth, and I understand that there's quite a few options on the table. Um, Rather than go over those here myself, I'm just going to leave the table open for you folks to discuss. And if there's any kind of options that have been kind of put forward to you that you're keenly focused on, maybe bringing it forward to the party and trying to drive in that direction. Table's yours.
It seemed like we were wanting to go to the Whitecaps first, right, guys?
To go deal with the Whitecaps.
Talk to the Whitecaps.
Yeah.
We're not
They-
dealing with them.
Well, I mean, there's probably some like diplomatic damage control that needs to be done. Or, we just let them run rampant over whatever's left.
But that's what we wanted to do first before going to the tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah. Tunnel will be, it's apparently been there for centuries, so it'll probably still be there.
We did sleep,
back.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
a long rest.
Okay.
And yeah, that's
All
true.
right, so this is
And I hope you bathed.
That's certainly
duh.
an option. And yeah, I do like the mentality of it's been closed for a long time. There's probably nothing in there that could be let out because of that being open now. That's
Totally.
a great mentality. I like it.
Okay, but Lose did suggest. She did suggest.
No, it's
This
cool.
that
fucking
someone
guy.
guard.
I just like taking your idea and like maybe casting it in a different like coming at you.
Yeah, basically, John is treating everything you say like a wish spell.
Yes. Yes, everything that
I don't want
the
this
best DMs
wish.
are the ones that like manipulate the wish spell like the best. Like, I think they're the ones who are the real assholes about it.
Castia is very interested in that temple tunnel, whatever, based on the same symbol, but she's still probably fairly disoriented from the experience and will go along with whatever.
Trying to interpret my
All day.
writing nonsense in character chat.
Okay, so Whitecaps, is that
Yes.
still okay? Let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Lose was going to suggest that some of the boys keep an eye on some of
That's it.
Bethel's boys, keep an eye on that just in case there is any, ancient eldritch evil about to pour out from the ancient tunnels.
Do we have sending
Just
stones?
in case.
No, we do not.
No.
Why not? That should have been one of the first things we acquired.
Because
We
we had
tried.
also asked about it in like the first session.
So yeah, you were definitely very spoiled in Knock. Calling
Yeah.
stones, which is what you're talking about, are a very different element to what sending stones are.
Yeah.
Sending stones
Sending
is like
stones.
think back to the old days of texting when you had to pay like $1 million just to send like one message that was
No,
like
yeah,
shorter
I
than-
understand.
yeah.
Sure.
But
They're
even
garbage.
having like, I mean, they would fit this potential scenario perfectly. So, yeah, we'll have the boys watch the hole in the ground, and
Okay.
we'll go talk to the Whitecaps.
Got it.
Hopefully, we won't be gone too long.
Go for like
Okay.
2 hours.
Yeah, not a problem. So when you make your way to Marshtown, obviously there are two methods of going about doing that, as we've discussed. You could go across Midtown, then head south down 2 furlong, or you can head south and then go around Red Hill. And I'll go ahead and move us to the Midtown map so we can kind of pay attention to what I'm saying here. So you are at 19,
Yes.
and that is here. And so you could go over here to 2 furlong and head down to Marshtown, or you can head south, like you're making your way to Sepulchre's Barrow or Hole in the Ground, and then once you've kind of made it south far enough, you can go around Red Hill and make your way to Marshtown that way. Either way works.
I would like to go straight south through Red Hill just to see if any, like while we were resting, to see if any of the Dennis Advents came back.
Okay. Yeah, so anybody have any arguments against that?
No.
Okay. So you
No,
head south
I mean,
past Red Hill. You make your way around it and then cross over the lands kind of north of Sepulchre's Barrow and the lake. From this vantage, you can see the area where the small Colosseum outside of the Barrow is located. And those of you who've walked the path to the Barrow and not gone like a back end way to get there, so mainly Astrogoth, but also Glint, I believe.
Glint.
Yeah. So you kind of have an idea of what it's supposed to look like when it's populated. It doesn't look like that. It very much looks like it is a ghost town. It looks like it has been completely upheaved from having people in it, at least from this distance. So as you maneuver away from that, kind of on the southern facing of Red Hill, nothing's different about Red Hill, and obviously you don't see a large contingent of individuals. In fact, you see less than people you were expecting to be that direction.
Okay.
Does that spur you to any action? Do you want to do anything about that, or you just want to continue on to Marshtown?
No, I mean, if there's no one we can see, then it should be fine.
Okay. So when you make it to Marshtown, I'll go ahead and shift us to it, or try to. Okay, computer. I will fight you. I will lose, but I will do it.
What's its challenge rating?
If it's higher than a 1, I'm done. I don't think you could take a challenge 1-8. So, when you get to Marshtown, you'll be entering in from the same kind of vector that you approached before, except it's kind of over here instead of the main road. And what you'll notice is it looks like it's business as usual. There's people, fishing. There are people, performing their normal mundane tasks all throughout this busy section of Cardend. But what you'll note is it doesn't look like there are any individuals kind of patrolling the area like you saw before. And when I say individuals, I mean specifically the Whitecaps. It doesn't look like their presence is being seen.
Does it look like this place is abandoned?
No. Quite the opposite. It looks like everyone's still going through their business. It's just the main difference between when you were here last and when you are here now is that there are no Whitecaps present. Not everyone in Marshtown is a Whitecap.
Yeah,
Right.
It's not just a huge ass gang town.
that could be a good thing.
Ridiculous.
This isn't West Side Story?
No, it's not.
I'm out.
For that reason.
Glint just approaches like the first person he can see.
Sure, there's a person who's kind of maneuvering over to the general store, which is where that little guy was.
Yeah, go talk to the old prospector.
I'm not bringing his voice back.
Good day. I'm sorry to bother you. We come seeking the Whitecaps, and they don't seem to be around. Do you know where we can find them?
I don't fucking care. Just walks past you.
They might be in the same place. Just not having to walk around as much.
Yeah, as we've discussed before, people in Marshtown are not hospitable. Like, they're not kindly folk.
Yeah, let's just go have Orlandis go knock on the door of the tower again. I'm sure that can't have any consequences.
I mean, they know us now, so
I might have a new job.
That's right, yeah.
So what are we doing?
We're going to the castle
Okay. So when you
Not
make
the
it outside
tower.
of the tower, yeah, you'll note that there are seemingly no people outside like there were before. There's no guard up in the balcony. There aren't people watching you in the narrow kind of windows of the buildings around you. You'll also note that there were a lot more boats in the water than are currently present. Um, or sorry, yeah, there were past tense. So there are
Mhm.
not as many boats present. You'll also note that the front door, is just ajar.
Mm,
Jar
don't like that.
It's a
Okay.
Maybe they
jar of
left.
mayonnaise, as presented by an alchemy jug.
Truly
Aw,
impenetrable.
Okay.
I wanted a jar of honey.
I mean, yeah, Orlandis will make his presence known. He'll knock and then open it.
Yeah, sure. When you go inside, it looks like the place is completely cleared out, and the ground in the center of the main chamber is just a hollow hole that descends down into darkness. Like they left the door open to their subterranean lair.
Mm. Oh,
Well?
shit. Did they?
Guess they're done here.
Do you linger
And
for a minute?
there's. Huh?
Gonna head out around.
I mean, Glint looks down into the hole and he says, "You want me to go take a look?"
We got our own hole back at Bethilde's to worry about, Glenn.
That's true. I mean, I guess there's, he kind of gestures vaguely. He's like, plenty of holes around.
I did not. Oh. I guess we could go back, but I thought someone would be here.
As you're kind of looking down the hole, you see an arcane pattern form deep in the dark. You would note that this is what happened when the platform descended.
Mhm.
It does look like there's something shadowing over the arcane symbol, like there's something on it. And you can sense that it's starting to rise up.
Oh,
Okay.
guess we'll wait.
Okay. After about a minute or two, the platform rises up. There are 3 individuals on it, people you don't recognize. Looks like they are currently pushing along a cart as they come up. They look at you kind of confused. Not really in recognition, they don't seem to know who you are, but it looks like each one of them has a cart, and the cart has a number of different things on it. One cart seems to have like a number of boxes that have been kind of collected with a couple of bags thrown loosely on top. Another one looks like it has a barrel, and then next to that is like food bags instead of like just a regular, burlap sack, just kind of like a container bag of like rice or something, some other food product or something. You're not sure what it is. And then the last one, it looks like it has a number of small chests on it. But from what you're able to tell, just based on their pushing and like the size of these guys, it looks like the guy with the smaller chest is having the most trouble. Like his is the heaviest, despite looking like it shouldn't be.
You need a hand with that?
No. Who are you? I don't have time for you. Gotta get moving. And then the other guy says, "Yeah, gotta get moving." And you can tell that they're white caps. They all have the, typical garb.
Y'all moving out now?
Ain't got time to talk, lassie. Sorry. Gotta be moving. And they continue shuffling out if you don't bar them from doing so.
Yeah. Or before I do that, did we? I don't think I ever got the name for the boss. Did I?
Yeah, if I avoided it, then it was intentional. So yeah.
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 The only name I have is Master Elier. but I think that was something else. Are you all leaving? Marshtown.
You hear the clunk as the wagon or the carts kind of get outside, and they're slowly making them down the stairs. They, if anyone's on this bridge, they look at you very sternly, and then they start single filing it across that area, heading over to this spot here. And they start a process of moving one of the small boats over and moving things down from the higher end to the boat, working as a team.
Okay.
Not an uncommon
I'm
sight.
sorry. Where did you indicate?
Yeah, it's like right next to you, this little spot here.
Oh, okay.
And they're basically like moving the cart over to this ledge here, and just kind of working over the stone railing, and just kind of moving the boxes, bags, and the like down to one, then two, and then finally a third of these small little rowboats.
Alright, so Orlandis will say while they're doing that, whenever your boss is free, can you tell him Orlandis wishes to speak with him?
You're gonna have to make an appointment with the mayor. You can do so at the front gate of Tarn Keep. And they kind of laugh at that. And they start rowing their boats up and then out. Looks like they're heading northbound.
So they're
Leave it.
potentially heading to Tarn.
Yeah,
To
Tarn Keep.
Tarn. Well.
And
I guess I should probably, go talk about charging them rent or having them, pay their HOA dues.
Just want to make sure I does everybody get what was insinuated there? Just want to make sure that that's clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
What, they just sent us on a wild goose chase?
They're relocating.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, obviously they're relocating, but to where?
To
Tarn
Tarn
Keep.
Keep.
Tarn Keep. But I mean, Tarn.
Zach, go ahead and explain
Don't know
it
what
to
the
him.
significance of Tarn Keep is.
Zach, go ahead and explain it
When a man loves a woman,
to him. The birds and the bees. No?
No.
Okay. So Tarn Keep was mentioned to be where the lord of the town, before the Denisothans took it over, reigned.
Oh, right. So now that the Denisothans are gone, they're moving back to reclaim what was once theirs.
It was never theirs.
Never theirs.
It was-
No, they're just claiming
claiming
it. Yeah.
right.
So the boss is possibly going to be the
The
new
mayor now.
The mayor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Either him or someone.
Him. I'm pretty sure it's
imagine you just have a bunch of people who are claiming that property they don't own is theirs, and they're making it an entire city of it. That's
Yeah.
essentially the gist of it.
city squatters.
That's the word I was thinking of.
Squatters.
Psst, it's
We
real
will-
estate.
We will come back to that later.
You were
Let
muted
us-
from whatever you just said, John.
Oh. I'll just post the meme.
Okay.
If it's not a Slavic squatting meme, I'm going to be disappointed.
It's not, I'm sorry.
Let us.
I mean, that doesn't have any sort of relevance to us unless they're planning on taking
True.
over the region and inflicting their rule over.
Just said
Um,
called himself the mayor, bud.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing.
We will come back to this.
He said, "Oh, they're gone. Mine now."
Yeah.
So you
As
guys,
the meme said, free real estate.
we can
Right.
either go to Tarn Keep or we can explore that dungeon.
There's other options too. Keep
Oh,
in mind.
there's so many options.
So you can
There is a
reestablish
lot
the
to do here.
community by going and talking to the other communities. Obviously, Tarn Keep's probably not the best place to start, but I would assume, and I mean, just being smart about it, it's probably the case that they're
Victicist.
going to start asserting their reign, not in a heavy-handed way, because that's not a way that you'd expect them to do it anyways.
Yeah.
The ruin, obviously. The mysterious footprints that people keep saying is a Baba Yaga, but I mean, there's been no evidence of that being the case.
You said a house
Maybe it's a
with
chocobo.
chicken legs.
No, I didn't say a house with chicken legs. I said you saw big chicken footprints in the ground. That's all I said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a chocobo.
Okay. It is a chocobo.
It could be a house with chicken legs. It could be a giant with chicken legs. It could be a giant chicken with chicken legs. It could be a
Bobby,
shape-shifting
Chocobo.
giant who was shape-shifting into a chicken at the time they left those footprints.
Yeah.
It could be a giant who is walking on stilts that have footprints that are like chicken legs.
Why
Yeah,
would
why-
he be
Options
walking
here.
on
It could
stilts?
just be a giant chicken.
Right?
Yeah, Jonah, why do you have to assume that it's not a cloud giant druid wild shaping into a chicken?
You know what? That's
Into a storm
probably
chicken.
true.
Have you ever
It's a
fought
storm
Which is
a,
now
a battle
canon.
storm chicken?
I have not. I have
Storm
not.
chicken.
Alright.
Cannon. Type and
Could be a
post
So
in
Giant
lore.
okay, to
Biggest
deal
one
with
you've ever
this
seen.
political matter, I think we should go to speak to Kavar Varnador. Unless he left with Hawksroost. Or Hawkers. Is
We're
it
bothering that
Hawks?
poor old man again?
Hawksroost.
He was nobility, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's also Master Elir, but he was with,
You
I
don't.
think he was with the Whitecaps. And then there's Vindicus, but he's not going to open the door, so fuck him. I think
I don't know,
we
maybe
should...
if you go knock on his door and ask him if he wants to start a mayoral campaign, he'll finally answer.
No!
He's like, this
We're
is what I've
gonna
been
go
waiting for
talk
this
to
entire
Kavar.
time. I want to thank you for coming to me and being my campaign party.
But he wants
Alright.
you to do
Battle
all of the
tactician to
legwork.
now campaign manager. What a character arc.
You've got to
Fucking
do
really.
it. You've got no choice.
We're gonna go, I guess, fuck. We're gonna go talk to Kavar, I guess.
Okay.
Because from what I remember, he's one of the only nobility around, right? Aside from Albrecht, but he's fucking dead.
Sure.
Because I'm looking through the notes now. I don't remember anything about another.
Victicus is the one that's Tarn related, though.
That is true. But that's if he opens the door. Alright, so what do you guys want to try? Victicus or Kavar?
I don't know.
Alright, fuck it, we're gonna roll a d20.
Coin
Well,
toss.
I'm kind of running out of ideas because it seems like every humanoid individual we deal with is some form of disagreeable.
I mean, every non-human entity we've dealt with has kind of been disagreeable as well.
Well, I don't know.
People in general are disagreeable.
I mean that
Hey, shut
Roper
the
with
fuck
the
up,
headband
that's
of
rude.
intellect seemed pretty agreeable.
Am I wrong, though?
I mean, we got along just fine with the Dwergar.
You know,
That is true.
I disagree with people being disagreeable.
Alright, d20, here we go. High roll.
What's wrong
so-
with you?
It's fair.
Every NPC is just an extension of John. Got
I
it.
disagree with everyone being disagreeable. And I disagree with you being disagreeable. I'm not disagreeable. I disagree.
D20.
I don't know. The prospector was kind of nice. Too bad he's dead to John now.
That's not true. I
Jeez.
still
You
wanna
said
do
you
it.
weren't bringing his accent back. He's as good as dead.
I'm trying to like I know what he sounded like, but like my brain is like, I don't think we can right now.
Was it like a stereotypical comical old time
Well,
prospect?
Yeah,
it
pretty
was.
Give
much.
me back my diamonds!
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, my
So-
brain just can't do it.
That's fair.
So I'm just gonna say he's not at the general store.
He is taking a vacation.
He works for the Whitecap, so he's at Tarn Keep.
There you go.
I sure hope so.
That's gotta be
John,
it.
just look at that GIF long enough, and I'm sure it'll come back.
Apparently, Tarn Keep is the place to be. Also,
So,
I need to go make sure that these assholes don't fucking break into my basement.
So wherever the prospector goes, like, oh, he's going for gold. He's going. That's where we should go.
I mean, the place is booby trapped, so they probably would have a hell of a time.
So Hyrule was
Well, no, they're going to
Vindicus?
the keep. They're not going to the town,
Yeah.
Chad.
I mean, I imagine they'd probably want to move in or like
To the keep,
do
yeah.
something with the area.
Like the keep is like gonna be where they probably post up. It's pretty big.
Okay, fair enough.
Town's still yours.
Sneak in later.
But yeah, table's yours. Heard some suggestions. Just want you folks to suss it out.
Sorry,
before-
I rolled the d20 and the high roll was
I've
going to
decided
be
for everyone.
for Vindicus.
Victicus, yeah.
Victicus, sorry. So we're gonna have to go talk to him.
Okay.
Alright.
So, are you heading up to Furlong, or are you going around, back around Red Hill again?
We're gonna go up Furlong
Okay.
this
Cool.
time.
So when you get there, at the point where you met with the guards, the brigands, last time, there were some burial markers. I'd mentioned those. They were kind of standing near them.
Mhm.
You'll notice that they're apparently burying 2 more people in that same row. You can see that the bodies are wrapped in heavy burlap and kind of twine set off to the side. One of them looks like it's pristine, like there's no fluids or anything kind of staining the burlap. But the other one looks like it's heavily stained in kind of like a deep crimson color.
The general store manager.
No. You will see too that there are the same brigands that you had met on the road before, and they appear to be the ones who are digging the hole. Looks like they are I'd say about four or so feet in on one, and just kind of getting started on the second one.
Okay. Do they obviously they notice us while we're walking by, but
Yeah, but you'll see that like the main guy, the main kind of tough is actually the one that's in the 4-foot hole. Once you've got a hole big enough, you can't really do what you're doing on top. Like you can get 3 or 4 shovels at surface level, but once you have a hole, it's just one guy in there doing the job, right? So
Yeah.
it looks like he's the guy in the 4-foot hole, while the others are kind of working at the other side of it. So he looks at you, but it's like he's kind of looking at you like it's like chest
Yeah.
level. He's kind of looking at you. He doesn't
Gotcha.
really acknowledge you too much, and he's wiping sweat from his brow and doing hard work here.
okay.
They don't accost you or anything. They seem to be busy.
Do we want to interact?
I want to know what happened, why they're buried, but it might be from they might have recovered those bodies.
You can ask.
Yeah.
Lose will go over. You lads doing alright over there?
The guys who are doing the kind of top work, they kind of stop and look like they're about to interact, but just as they kind of do so, the guy inside the hole kind of looks at you and says, "Fuck off!" And then he looks back at the other guys who are kind of stopping and says, "I didn't tell you to lift those shovels up. Get back to work."
Not disagreeable at all.
Kindly allow.
Yeah. Just seeing if you needed any help, lads.
Can you fucking shift earth?
Not by magic, but I could help you pull a few shovels.
If you've got a shovel, then rip it out.
Do I have a shovel?
Rip it out. Where does he think you store your shovel?
I'll be honest, he's probably thinking it's an elf. It could come from anywhere. Like,
Something
elves are
portable
magic.
hole.
Elves are
Right.
magic. Like, they could have a bag of holding, yours already haversack.
I have nothing of the kind, unfortunately. I don't even. Does anyone else have a shovel?
1 second. I think Glint might.
That is a good question. Does an explorer's pack come with a shovel?
No.
It
Shovel's
doesn't.
several item you have to purchase.
No shovel.
Are All right, you all look
Uh.
around at each other, realizing you're not.
Hold
You're
on
an
a second.
explorers group,
Hold
not
on.
a digging team.
I've got a miner's pick.
Not gonna help.
No.
Might help with the prospector if you can find him. The new game, the new quest, the new story. Everything else is gone. Likewise are done. Dennis Othmans have left. Where the fuck is that prospector?
Where'd he go?
Yeah,
We
the
can
campaign
kill
is
all
now
of 'em.
rush of where the fuck is the prospector.
And why won't John do his voice?
Unfortunately, lads, it seems we don't have a shovel. You wouldn't happen
Then
to have an
fuck
extra?
off, he says.
Alright.
God, what an
Yeah.
asshole.
And he gets
Move on
back to
by
it.
then.
Kind of inciting it, it looks like the others that are with him are kind of like not there for purpose, but based on his attitude and just like his drive at like working, because even through all of that, as you're kind of shuffling through each other's
Yeah.
bags, kind of looking for shovels, he doesn't miss a beat. He is shoveling, and he's working hard. It looks like he is.
Personal.
He's paid by the job.
Well, no, he's possessed
Well,
to do it. Like there's a purpose. He wants this done.
Right. But I mean, it's like the difference between like paid by the job versus hourly.
Well, I don't think you think it's a financial thing. I guess that if
No,
you
no,
have...
no, no, no. I just mean like the type of like pace he's doing it at.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. He definitely is working.
Because if you
hard.
can get a job done that you're being just like flat paid for, you want to get it done quicker.
No, I understand. Sorry. I guess what I'm trying to insinuate, just to make sure I'm clear, is that it looks like he is driven by passion to do the job.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's
Chances are the people he's trying to bury are like friends, family.
Right.
Right.
That's
Yeah, no, I
okay.
get that point.
Sorry.
I'm just saying the pace
Gotcha.
of which he's
the
working.
pace. Understand. Sorry. I just want to make sure it was clear. That said, if you continue past him and head back up north, we continue on. You'll pass by the windmill farm, which I'll go ahead and snap us to Midtown again. And obviously Hawk Roost is no longer there, so 17 is currently gone. And then you would see the greenhouse, kind of off in its own space, just glistening in the light. And you'd continue past it and head up to Victicus Manor. I'd like everybody to go ahead and make a perception check.
You know what? I bet the Hawk Roost is where those giant bird footprints are from.
That is cool though. But yeah, no, I promise you, it. Never mind.
It is supernatural in nature.
Much like the holy water elemental, I imagine it's going to be something that he thinks is hilarious, but isn't anywhere near as cool.
You said the holy water elemental was cool. Off
Well,
stream.
yeah, it
was
wasn't
pretty
boiling.
cool.
Anyway, it would seem that Orlandis, as you're, dead set on approaching the space, you would see someone on the second floor in the window, kind of watching as you approach. And as you kind of notice them, it seems like they notice that you notice them, and they close their blinds. You don't really get much of a view of this individual.
Okay. So,
As you kind of
Kind
make your
of-
way up to the door to knock again, the door opens, and a young-ish lad kind of steps out and very kind of, specifically closes the door behind him. Looks like he is very, focused and keen on doing so. Once you see him, you hear kind of a sound come from the north side of the house. And that's immediately when you all recognize that there is a hippogriff kind of sat out on the north side of the house that was outside of your vision as you were approaching the house. The boy, who you see, is kind of probably in his late teens, early 20s. He has a mop of brown hair, just a mess of it. He is wearing what you think would be a very comfortable rider's outfit. He also has a long kind of leather sleeve on his left arm, which indicates he might be an archer of some sort. There's a longsword on his back as well as a bow, and he has a very small pack kind of on his back, kind of hanging from shoulder straps. His eyes are purple, which is not common for a human, which he appears to be. He doesn't look like he's overly muscular, but he definitely looks like, even though he's got a slightly skinnier frame, definitely looks like he's got a decent amount of like muscle structure to him. He smiles at you as he comes out and he says, "Oh, I don't think the old man's going to be taking any guests. Can I help you with something?" And then you hear from the creature to the north of the house.
Yeah, what's the trick? My friend's been trying to speak to him for like 12 times now?
Oh, yeah, he, doesn't really like guests. Sorry. I'm not technically from around here, but, since we're related, he kind of had no choice but to say hello, and since I was bringing him something of, he wanted, he let me in. Didn't really talk much, so I just was gonna be on my way.
Glint's going to very like low key separate himself from the group to go get a better look at the hippogriff.
Sure. As you're doing that, this individual will kind of walk over to Castia, and Lose, kind of an expert of, dorky males, you kind of recognize that he seems to be kind of trying to act with a bit more uplifted etiquette towards Castia in this moment. And he goes, "My name's Griff," and he kind of offers his hand out. In a very peasant kind of gesture of trying to be formal. "Griff Remen," he says. Do you take his,
Cassia will look kind of confused at the hand.
do you don't take his hand?
She doesn't know what the fuck that is.
He kind
What the fuck is that?
Looks at his hand like he thinks it's dirty or something, and kind of, "Oh, okay."
She kind of, Lose leans in and says, "Sorry, she's a bit lost her memory.
"Oh, I
Doesn't
apologize."
remember all the formalities."
Okay.
Sorry, I'm kind of not from around here. I think sorry.
Oh.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, but my friend, he wanted to ask
Oh.
your father, uncle, cousin.
He is my granduncle. So his uncle's father.
She's trying to put that together.
Right. And his uncle's father through his... So, the father of his uncle, who the uncle is not an uncle by blood, is an uncle by marriage.
Oh, okay.
So his wife, the uncle's wife, was this individual's daughter.
So he's a step grandnephew?
Yeah, I don't know what a granduncle technically would be called, but that's what I'm calling it.
I mean,
Setting.
it's
It would
the
be a
same.
great
Go ahead.
uncle.
Post that in.
Oh, great
It's
uncle.
a great uncle. That's
Granduncle.
I need a diagram. Can you whip that up for me? Like right now, can you open up
Maybe he has a great
Vizio
sword.
and just...
Granduncle, also canon.
Yeah, okay.
not great uncle, grand uncle.
Great uncle.
Great uncle. Okay.
What was your question again? Sorry.
I don't have a question. My
Oh,
friend
him, yeah.
had a... Yeah.
Mr. Griff, I am Orlandis, and he holds out his hand. Yeah,
And then shakes.
for sure.
I've got a pretty sturdy hand to him.
Okay.
Um,
I see. Okay.
You can definitely tell that just by the look of him and also the smell of him, he's definitely like an aerial individual. Like he's probably the rider of that hippogriff. Glint, as you kind of look at the hippogriff, you'll see that it's kitted for riders. Like it has a saddle, it has saddlebags. It looks like it's reins and everything. It's equipped to be flown.
Does it appear friendly?
When you approach it, go ahead and make an animal handling check. Let's see if we can persist a long-standing meme.
Okay. Sorry, I was away from my computer.
No worries. When you get a chance, we'll go back to Orlandis.
I was hoping to talk to your great uncle about
No, it's grand uncle.
granduncle about the history of Tarn Keep and Cardend and the
He doesn't want to talk about any of that. I know
It
for
is,
sure he's not going to want to see you if that's what you're here for.
I see.
Yeah,
Even if Tarn keeps being taken over?
I don't think he cares. Is it
That's
though?
fair.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
We
Yeah.
just
The-
learned, so new.
How does he feel about running for mayor?
He's not much of a runner.
I
Oh.
don't think he has to run
Mm.
for that.
I mean, just in general, like I don't think he's going to leave the house. So,
I was like that once.
so Glint, it
Just to
doesn't-
avoid getting hurt, I'm.
No, you're not going to spend your inspiration on that. I'm not going to allow it. It's too funny to not allow it. It's not going to hurt you, but it definitely
That's a
like.
donkey again.
What I will say is like it's not going to be like hostile. It's just going to be kind of. So as you kind of reach out to it to like kind of like pet it and allow it to kind of smell your hand, it does so, and then it does. And then it kind of like backs away from you, like it kind of
Like that cat on TikTok
Yeah,
with
like the
food
cats on
that just.
It just doesn't like your vampiric nature, I guess.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of par for course with. Okay.
Yeah, it's an animal
All
name.
right.
We've got it.
Right.
It's set in stone now.
So that's fine. He really just wanted to get closer to it to kind of take a look at its bird feet and kind of gauge that against what he saw
Too
with
small.
the footprints.
Too small.
Too small?
Yeah, too small.
Okay.
Yeah, the bird feet that you were looking at are probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 feet long.
Oh,
God
Jesus.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
That is a
You could,
giant.
you could
This-
describe the stride as about one house length.
Yeah, about what
Referring-
house length is the stride?
Referring to his monstrous knowledge, does he know of any creatures with bird feet that large?
Sure. A rock would have it. There are larger giant owls and giant eagles, like
Hmm.
in the ballpark of not as big as a rock, but close.
Yeah, but rocks aren't exactly like if a rock was flying around, people would know.
You would have heard about it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with giant eagles or giant owls. Maybe not the giant owls. Owls are pretty stealthy.
Hmm.
Anyway, back to the discourse. He says, my granduncle, he back when he cared, he was very much invested in the nature of the town. You might have heard of his positions here as a advisor to the nobility and a member of it. But he was a conglomerate loyalist, and a lot of the people in the nobility were not keen on that. So much was the case that a couple of their structures, especially in Marshtown, were knocked over or taken over. I don't understand the people here's hostility towards the conglomerate. As a resident of Amblevote to the north, I've come to love them. A lot of the resources that are pulled from Amblevote are substantial in helping the conglomerate, and just recently they sent their agents to assist us in a very horrible magical calamity that befell our town.
Yeah, we met one when they fell out of the sky in an airship.
Oh wow!
It's nice enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
about
it
that.
hit it hit a house, which wasn't great for the people that lived in the house, but he was nice.
Huh.
It wasn't really his fault.
He did kind of blow up the airship.
I think it was 90%
I don't
gravity.
think he was aiming for it
Not
though.
instant gravity. 10% him.
Something concentrated. No, never mind.
More than fair. So Griff would say, or continue. So he's kept to himself, especially after, his wife, my grand aunt. or my aunt, I don't even know what it's called. Great
If
aunt.
if it was his
I'm-
wife,
His
it's a
wife
great
is
or grand aunt.
grand-aunt or great-aunt.
It
Great
sounds
aunt.
like I should be happy I don't have family. This sounds
It
complicated.
is. It's so complicated.
Family sucks.
Just walk away from him. That's all you gotta do.
I mean, that's all you gotta do is just walk away from him. You never have to talk to him again.
Low say of 1,000 children.
Look, I lost track of all of them.
Goddamn.
Wait, am I one of her children?
But
Are you my mom?
he would say, so he's not very kindly, and he's not really interested in what's going on in the town, and hasn't been. He told me that he's been paying attention only just. He said a large army moved north, and I saw it on my way over here. Luckily, they didn't try and harass me. I don't think they saw me. But they have some very strange-looking skyships, to be sure.
Yes.
Sure.
One looked like it was made of stone.
Didn't see that one, but
That sounds like it would have trouble flying.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at least I would think, But I guess not so.
I guess they didn't want to take the time to fill the hole we made.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but
You'll
fair.
see when you give a flight up.
Oh, okay. Well,
Hard to miss.
if you folks are really interested in meeting with Victicus, it's probably going to have to be for something that would interest him. And at this late stage of it, I don't think there's going to be very much that will draw him out of his residence.
Well, with the conglomerate man gone, I suppose there's not much that we can really draw him out with.
I know that he still maintains a good friendship with Kavar Vonador, and I believe Kavar's children often will bring him supplies, things that he needs to just make it through the day. So they might know the most about, everything that's been going on and everything you need to know.
What is he interested in? I've learned some stories from one of our friends. I've killed a dragon. I have a whole notebook of monster things. It's
I wouldn't say he'd be interested in any of that, but good on you, killing a dragon. That doesn't sound easy.
So myself.
What about? No, I shouldn't talk about that.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure meeting with you folks. He walks past Glint, kind of giving Glint kind of a strange look. And it looks like he's heading over to the Hippogriff. He raises a hand very calmly, kind of, gets them out of their, oh my god, what the fuck is that? Towards Glint. And gives
Don't
I would
worry,
say
most
that
Smell weird.
as he walks by Glint and kind of like gives him a look, Glint just like gives him the most like flat, like unimpressed look ever. It's just like watching like a rabbit walk by.
Whatever.
He probably didn't like Glint's hat. That happens.
The boy will jump up on the Hippogriff, if not stopped, and will take to the sky.
Before he leaves, Orlandis is just going to say, thank you.
No problem.
We're going
Yeah,
to
never mind the fact that Glint doesn't wear a hat anymore because he has a crown stuck to his head.
The,
Isn't that kind of a hat?
That's a different
Forgot about
problem
that.
for a
It's a pointy
different
hat.
day.
the
Yeah, it's a
Hippogriff
hat with eyes on it. That's got to be worse than the normal hat. I can't blame the Hippogriff.
Take to the air. Orlandis, since you were the only one who caught him the last time, you're the only one who catches him this time. You will watch as the man is apparently watching this whole transaction. Towards the end of it, you actually catch on that that's happening. Kind of drawing your eyes up to look skyward as the young lad takes flight. And you see him kind of look after Griff, and then slowly pull the curtain close again.
Oh, that's sweet. They named him after the Hippogriff. No wonder they're so close. They have the same name.
Cute.
Griff Hippo, Remen, and Hippo Griff. Remen spelled backwards.
All right, time to get a hippoglint.
What?
Damn
Hey.
period. Hippogriff.
I mean, flying is pretty much the only thing I can't do.
I think we should go.
Multi-class
talk
into
to
druid.
We can get a trebuchet.
Trebuchet. Always
Any
thinking
one
with
of us
the
could fly then.
mechanicals.
I mean, give me a few more levels, I actually can fly. So
I can now. What's your problem?
Spooky.
So, you're
I wanna
standing
go-
outside of Old Man's mansion or
Yeah.
manor house.
I think we should talk to Kavar now.
Huh?
I think we should talk to Kavar now.
Okay.
All right.
So you make your way to Kavar's house, which would be
Just up the road.
and when you approach, let me go ahead and
While we're walking up, there aren't like any Kurthix or like not merfolk.
now, nothing.
There isn't any. Okay.
No, you're not being wildly attacked by stuff. That
Okay.
is not
Cool.
happening.
I like that.
Oh, whoops. Not there.
He's alive.
So when you approach, and I just put the map out there because I like it, you would see that it looks like the family are fishing at current. They're seated on this little bridge space, and it looks like they all have their
Up
tools
north
for
or
fishing.
down?
There's a net down, and then there's also, a couple of rods out. One of the kids is sitting in the kind of broken portion of the bridge.
Oh, okay.
And the other
We'll go.
kid is on the other side. But they see you approaching, and Kavar kind of waves his hand to you, and then kind of sets his pole onto a device for holding his fishing rod.
Mhm.
Heads into the house, and then comes out the front door looking at you and says, you're Orlandis, right?
Yes. Hello, Mr. Kavar.
Hi. So I heard the bad news.
Yes.
Is it true, Albrecht? He,
So, yeah. Orlandis gets like a really serious face, and he's like, "Unfortunately, yes, it is true."
that's terrible. But from what it sounds like, I mean, mission accomplished, right? He got him out of town.
Yes. It is a good thing,
Absolutely.
but we have lost a good leader.
Yeah. So, do we know who's going to be taking over the leadership of the town?
Right now, the only one taking control is the boss of the White Caps.
Oh.
He's moving into Tarn Keep.
Yes.
Huh.
They're really quick.
I do
Honestly,
not-
I'm a little impressed.
I
Yeah.
do not know. I do not know what this means for the townsfolk or the livelihood of Gardent, but I wanted to come here to hear your opinion.
Well, I mean, if he wants to keep, I mean, no one's had it for a while. It's filled with ghosts, so, I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess. He might think it's just superstitious, but, it might be something serious. We'll see.
Do you?
I don't think
Do
he's
you-
going to be able to, if he is interested in, like, ruling with some sort of iron fist or something. I don't think he has the numbers. I know that the agitators, at their full strength, were pretty close to what he had in his company. About 20 or 30 folk.
Do you think it would be a positive outcome if he
we'll
were to become leader?
We'll see. I mean, I don't know what his goals in taking, mayorship is, but I suppose we'll see. And again, he might have the backing of Marshtown, but you know, he's going to have to get the backing of other towns if he wants the town to work together. Otherwise, he's just taking what he probably prospects as a nice house for himself. And Tarnkeep does have some treasure still within it, but it also's got ghosts.
Okay. We wish to go speak with him, possibly to learn what exactly he wishes to do, and I do hope it will benefit all of Garden.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you learn anything about it, that'd be great. I'd love to know what he's planning. And I think the folks, you know, in the other boroughs are going to be, you know, reluctant. We've kind of had self-rule, you know, and kind of worked in our own methods for a while now. I mean, Albrecht was kind of the de facto leader of Midtown. And, you know, the other folks have their own people as well. But
Right.
if he's wanting to unite the town again, maybe make something good out of this, then great. I guess we'll
Well,
see.
I do thank you, Gavad, for everything.
Yeah, not a problem.
If you can, since I know Victicus is a bit of a shut-in, but
Oh, yeah.
just let him know that there will be changes to the town of Garden.
Honestly, he'll be fine.
Okay.
I'll be honest. If your significant other went out as horribly as his wife did, then you'd probably just lose all care for the world too, right?
I have no doubt.
I just know that his heart's broken, and the only thing that kind of keeps him alive is the fact that he's stubborn. Really all that's keeping him around.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really talk to him very often. I think maybe a year and a half ago was the last time I got a chance to really talk to him.
Okay. Just check on him every so often. I know his nephew, or great nephew, Grief.
Oh,
He
Griff
goes
was
there.
in town?
He just left, but I believe he was taking care
Oh,
of Victicus.
yeah, I heard news that some big old, just crazy cataclysm happened at Anvilvote. He was okay?
Yes.
Great. Well, good.
Wait, where did
well
he
enough
say?
to flirt.
Anvilvote.
Anvilvote?
Anvil?
Mhm.
Vote.
Anvil. Vote. Okay.
V-O-A-T.
That's not the same place, right?
The
That we
place
were.
that Griff said he came from, yeah.
Mm,
No, that's not Sepulture's Barrow.
no.
Griff is not from here.
So another cataclysm happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
totally
shit.
separate. Happened on Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, the Sunday game?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Griff is the NPC they never talked to because they didn't care about the hippogriffs I kept mentioning.
Gotcha.
I was wondering.
I was like, I'm just
Could
gonna
you-
slide him in here.
Could you tell us more about Anvilvote?
I don't know much.
Cataclysm?
Yeah, the only information I got was from a merchant who snuck through Dennis Ogden Lines not too long ago. There was some sort of weird monster that bubbled up from the undergrounds, you know, as is wont to do in a dwarvish town. Yeah, that's all I heard. I
Well,
thought
if
the
it's
place was.
taken care of.
Oh, so okay. Well, good. Things seem to be coming up good for everybody here on the western side of Lavidia.
Do you know if the Hux Roost is coming back?
Should. Yeah. kind of leans in and says something that you don't kind of catch, but Glint, you actually understand. Like it's kind of like a code that's being stated that was kind of mentioned to you by the members of Hawk Roost. It's kind of like a call and an answer situation. And I don't remember actually what I said when I told you what it was, but I remember having mentioned it. But you hear him kind of try and pull this towards Orlandis, who's not been kind of given the same kind of information as you have with your connection
Then
to James.
I go ahead and give him the second part.
He nods and kind of says, "Oh, yeah, they headed up the mountain. Apparently, they've perched themselves pretty close to the Denisotvan castle up there, and they've got something pretty big planned."
About
Which castle is that?
The name of the castle is in my notes. Hold on.
That's a weird name for a castle.
And he
Castle
pulls
in my
out a
notes.
notebook and starts looking through.
So that's probably the stone structure that Griff saw.
No. The stone structure that Griff saw, he said, was an airship made out of stone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The name of it, the castle that I am looking up, is
Quit your stalling.
That's the name of it.
Witcher Stalin.
it's
Got
Castle Bartholin. I'll take that.
Okay. I was one letter off. But okay. And that's where the fucking Denisovans are. Alright. I am not one of the Hawks Roost members, but maybe you can tell Glint of what they plan, unless they did not tell you.
He looks at you kind of confused and then kind of looks at Glint. Oh. Well, then forget everything I said. And he looks to Glint and just says, yeah. That's all the information I got. That's it. I already spilled the beans.
Wasn't
I remember.
he looks at Orlandis like, you and your big fucking mouth.
Yeah, so that's true, Ashergoth. So if you wanted to call an answer, like when he did it, I apologize for not getting you in on that.
No, you're good.
If you want to.
Yes.
Okay. So he'd kind of nod and say, I'm being honest. I already divulged all the information I have. They're headed up there to deal with the Denisotvans. They have a perch up on the mountain. I don't know exactly where, but pretty close to the Castle Bartholin, up that way.
About how far away is that?
If you hold on a second here. So this wouldn't be information that's like being kept from you, or that you wouldn't know. So you would understand that Castle Bartholin is kind of this space here, and it serves as a protectorate to the plateau of the mountain of the same name, I believe. And the town structures in the plateau are actually ruins that are of an older civilization that hasn't really been repaired. The ruins are said to be rife with pretty horrific aberrations, and you may have actually heard tale of it, Glint, Ashergoth, possibly Lose, just because of proximity, but it's presumed that there's a chaos scar in that ruin. A chaos scar being kind of a connective cut in the material plane that falls into the far plane.
Yeah.
So the Denisotvans have occupied that area?
The Denisotvans have occupied the castle that bars entrance or exit from that space. Castle Bartholin was basically used as a protection, like military base for the Levidians to make sure that shit didn't get out of there.
Okay.
And now they hold that castle instead of the Levidians. Because remember,
Yeah, but I don't exactly trust their motives.
sure. So if you look at their at the spacing here, like the I'm gonna do some doodling on my own map. Hold on a second here.
Doodles on a map.
So right.
Yeah, that might be something we want to follow up on or investigate further. I mean, obviously, we have some much more immediate concerns.
Sure. So just real quick, so I'm drawing on this kind of map, just kind of willy-nilly here. So if you look at this kind of dark line that I've drawn onto the map here,
Oh,
so
Okay.
to the west of that, and actually further to the south of that as well, is Anundia. Okay, there is some argument for the peninsula that you're on, like this kind of area here, also being a part of Anundia in modernity due to the Denisotvans taking Carden, taking the mountain, taking the this side of the bridge. But people who live in this town are still of the mentality of a Levidian kind of presence, despite having been occupied for a decade. So, to the north and then east, like all this shit this way, is Levidia on the northern side, and then this big island in the center here is Ordris, right? And then
Okay.
Anundia kind of goes all the way down that way, and then this down section at the bottom, which I'll snap ping to, is Ursulon, which is kind of this area in the peninsula, kind of northern up and around, which we explored in the Resistance at the Threshold game. But yeah, these kind of areas that we're talking about here, especially the one that you're in, it's kind of a flux between these two spaces. And yeah, it used to be the case that Cardend was protected by a Levidian militia, and you know, when they were kind of more ingratiated in Jernaris as a whole, they had conglomerate presence in the town as well, but they don't anymore.
Because of that Lich Mage here.
Probably not. This
Fucking
is
jerk!
very far away from Osiria. It's probably more the case of just kind of internal corruption inside of the organization. And then if you're curious, I'll go ahead and mark it on the map so you have it. But this marker here that I just put down on the map layer, and I'm snap pinging you too, is Amplevote, to give you an idea of how far Griff just rode to get here.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay. Respect. Back to the kid.
Not too bad. He can go about 50 miles a day, so. But yeah. Any questions about our map lesson?
no.
Okay.
So Denisotvans are from Anundia.
They're actually further west in a place called Scoria.
Scoria. Okay. I'm gonna write that down.
And to give you an idea of what Scoria looks like, it's see that hellish looking mountain kind of in the middle of the spot, and the kind of deep red area
Yes.
there. Yeah, that's all of Scoria. It's just a hateful place.
I knew it.
'Cause
Yeah,
it's
when you first get in
Hey.
there, Doom music starts playing.
red. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
which
it's
is why I
just how-
drew the Denizotvan guards like Doom soldiers. They're just all Doom guys.
Yeah, that tracks.
Whack.
Chad like switching sides.
Rip
I'm
and
sorry.
tear.
So
Let's
the
go.
the original Denisotvans, they went on to become Parnans, correct?
No.
Oh,
They are very far removed. Yeah,
I think the Ayatans.
they actually fought each other during the War of Sword and Serpent. The Denisotvans were the humans that chose to side with the dragons. The Denisotvans that you were aware of historically became Jernarans. After
oh, okay. Jernarans, correct.
yeah, after they were defeated. But then
I got you.
the Denisotrans in Scoria have been there for thousands of years and never got the memo. And so we're like, that shit's ours, that shit's ours, that shit's ours. We were promised it, and it was ours before we got stuck out here, so give us our stuff back.
Damn.
Well, I'm just
Okay.
saying, there's
Yeah, a couple of minute butts.
they're like Doomslayers, and then there's actually a Doomslayer.
Yeah. No, I know who you're trying to reference. I get the meme.
We saw Corson once or twice.
He played Corson. He is Corson.
Yeah. he
No,
is
I'm
one.
saying in the last Friday game, we
Yeah,
only
yeah.
saw him like once or twice.
It's very unlikely that you see a member of the Grey Order here, but great. So if you have any other questions for Kavar, who we were talking to, or anything you want to know, but yeah, he'll, you know,
I mean, he told us everything, right?
there's somewhere on
Yeah.
the mountain near Bartholin that is close enough for them to engage in whatever they were planning, and he doesn't know what they were planning, and so he can't really tell you more beyond that. And
Yeah.
he kind of already spilled the beans on everything, but he, acknowledging that 2 of your number are members of it, he's fine, since you other people must be trusted.
Okay. Alright.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all he can tell us.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole?
Um,
Do you have any
So
questions?
all I guess.
Does anybody else have any questions for Kavar?
Not at this time.
Well, then if that's the case, I mean, moving back to Midtown,
Glint thanks him for his time.
Sure.
I think we should definitely check out that hole when we get back and go from there.
he steps into his house, and you kind of make your way down the road, and then you hear him yelling after you. And he's kind of like panting, running after you. It seems like he has something in his hand, paper or document of some sort, and he's kind of rushing after you. And he says, "Oh, I forgot. I don't want this. Albrecht told me to keep it when he visited before you all did the deed. And I told him I'd hold on to it, but I don't want it." And he hands you the paper. Looking at it very quickly, as he kind of pushes it to you, he says, "If you don't want it, just give it to someone who you think is worthy of keeping it, okay?" And
What is it?
we'll kind of turn back and head up the road. When you look at the paper, it is the deed of ownership to the Broken Blade.
Nice.
Fuck. Okay.
I mean,
Rusty
I
rung.
feel like under the circumstances, Orlandus is a pretty good choice.
Just the first friend of Albert's that he ran into, actually. He would have gave it to whoever.
Alright.
Be a
Cool.
nice little form of revenue for Bathilda and her kids too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I think Bethilde should have this over anyone.
What's wrong with giving a bunch of hooligans a bar to run?
I mean, if you guys want to switch the game up to let's have a bar, I mean,
We already
John.
did that once.
John,
we didn't do
John,
it. We didn't do
you-
it.
We did not go through with the
you
whole
know
thing.
this group, and you know within like 30 minutes it's going to turn into an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what I want.
That's all.
Who's Danny DeVito?
I was gonna guess you, but
Fuck yeah.
No. It is. No.
No.
It is
I want to be Danny
honestly.
DeVito.
it's
no,
actually-
Jonas Charlie. That's fair. Yeah,
Jonas
Fuck.
Charlie.
you get to play Nightcrawlers with Zach.
Okay.
Anyway, focusing back up. So, after that's all said and done, what would you like to do beyond that?
Gotta go to the hole.
Going back to the farm.
If
Yeah.
Bethilde's there, he's gonna hand it off to her.
Okay.
And
She,
he's
We'll kind of casually just say, "Oh, what's this?" And then she says, "Oh, who had it? Kavar?"
yes.
I thought so. Man. Albrecht's a fucking
If you want
softie.
it.
I mean, I suppose. It's fine.
I
Might be a
believe
good form of revenue for you.
yes.
I'll be honest with you, Orlandus. He was planning on paying you the end goal stipend he promised you with the coffers of the Lycoi. And since that's not really a possibility anymore. I don't know how you're going to make the end portion of your agreed upon contract.
I will find a way.
If you want it, you can have it. I just don't know how much it would be worth to you, what with your family living so far away.
So you already getting paid?
Yes, but this is much too important for just me to have.
I guess.
I think it is a good thing that you and your boys have that.
Okay. Maybe Sarth can run it.
He would be a good owner.
Maybe. So, the boys were telling me they're taking shifts watching the ruins, whatever you caused out there. Or whatever was caused out there, whatever happened, I don't know. I heard Glint did it, I heard other things, kind of just a mess of whatever's happening out there. Is it a problem? It's not going to cause any problems.
We don't know just yet. It is ancient from what Lasse has told us.
I'm gonna piss my fucking pants. A gang accidentally a whole town. Okay. Focusing it back up. She says,
Oh,
okay,
no.
well, if you don't mind checking it out, I'm gonna say that me and the boys are gonna keep off of it. I'm not a fan of upsetting deities or powers of the seasons, especially ones that deal with harvest right here on my property. So if you would be so kind just to, if you do explore it and find out what it's about, just be mindful of what you're investing in.
Yes, we will try to be careful and not disturb any type of deity or try
He
to.
means
At least.
you. And Cassie will turn and say that to Glint.
I didn't mean anyone in specific. I just, please, just be cautious and be wary of if it, you know, might upset any sort of balance that's already present. We kind of like how everything's going at current. All right. Well, good luck down there.
Thank you.
All right. If you don't have any other preparations or anything else that you want to do, you move into the ruined structure, you move to the base of the statue of the.
You're muted, Chad.
Oh, what's up, Chad?
I was just saying, so nothing. There was no further developments while we were gone.
No, nothing crazy happened.
Nothing out of the ordinary happened.
No.
Okay.
When you make your way over to it, you'll see that the boys are there. A couple of them, anyways. Sarth and fucking other one. And
Fucking other one.
Yeah, that's his name.
Sarth.
Fucking other guy.
Sheldon, sure. Why not? There's no Sheldon.
Sheldon.
Dolan. So he,
Jesus.
Sarth would say, "Oh yeah, hey, you're going in?
Yes.
I would go with you, but Mom told me to not go. Is Casty gonna be okay?
She'll be fine. You're not
She
going
killed
with
the
us
dragon.
either.
She did
Yeah.
kill a dragon. You're right.
You didn't kill one.
Okay, well, good luck down there. And Mom said not to disturb the spirits, so don't do that. Do you want us to stay out here and wait for you, or? Do you think
Well,
No.
we're not sure how long we're gonna be.
Well, before you even get that sentence out, you hear Blofeld yell out, loud enough to basically clear the entire farms. Sarth, Sheldon, I don't remember the other kid's name. Get in here.
Oh my god.
And they rush off.
I think that means no.
So it's Gunther, Karis, Alice,
Gunther.
and
It's
Sarah.
Gunther.
Yeah.
Sarth.
Fucking Gunther.
So, Glint lights a torch, and he's kind of holding it out like he's gonna use it to light his way. And then, just without looking, he just hands it over to Orlandis.
Thank you.
Orlandis, you going in?
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Let's go.
We'll go with it.
Glint would like to move ahead of Orlandus, outside of the light.
So you're going in first, is what you're saying.
That works.
Right. Ahead of Orlandus, outside of the light, on the ceiling, moving stealthily.
So
I'll
this-
be behind Orlandus.
What you'll gauge very quickly is the ceiling isn't very high, so you're not really making much of a difference being on it versus not. And when
Okay.
you get down
That's
to the base
fine.
of the steps that I had mentioned before, you'll see that this cavern structure is very
Oh.
low ceilinged. It's maybe 7 feet, you know,
I can't
8
see
feet
nothing.
at the highest. Only Glint has made it in there yet.
Okay.
Do you need me to roll stealth?
You can roll stealth if you'd like. I don't need you to.
Okay. I don't like the sound of that.
There better not be any stalactites.
And now you should
We
be able
stumbled
to see
upon the
Orlandus.
ancient roper inn.
Who would be currently behind
so-
Orlandus?
Yeah.
Me.
I mean, 23 stealth, pretty good.
Cool. So you can see that when you first come down, there is a branching path here. It looks like there's a path to the left and a path to the right. It does look like there was a third path directly in front of you, but from what you can tell, it looks like it's caved in long ago. It doesn't look like it's a fresh kind of stumbling here. The ground that you're walking on is just a cobble of rock. Some larger, some smaller. Some of it actually sitting on top of other spacing. But the main thing that you're noticing is it looks like it's compacted in such a way that like there was a very large amount of pressure that was placed upon it to make it kind of near flat. It's not treacherous.
Oh, the ground?
Yeah, and then
Okay.
it very much looks like the stone was shaped and forced into the way it is right now. But yeah, the path to the left, it appears to kind of head up a small little step off to the left, and the path to the right that kind of heads southbound looks like it kind of moves to like a dead end from what you can tell from this position. And I'll go ahead and grab Lose and put her on the board. Go ahead, Chad, while you're
The path that's collapsed.
to the northeast. Yep.
Glint would like to basically get as close to that as possible and sort of just like feel the ground and see if he can sense any sort of movement or anything on the other side of this blockage.
Not a bit of movement at all.
Okay. Fair. So then he's going to kind of check out each of the potential paths and just see what he can see.
Okay. So, like I said, dead end to the south. It looks like kind of a weird cul-de-sac, but there might be a little point of egress on the side there, and then
Glint, you're checking out the left or the right first?
He'll check out the cul-de-sac,
Okay.
see what kind of avenues or see if there's any like hidden doors or anything.
Orlandus will go left with Lose.
okay.
I will also go with Orlandus.
All right.
Let's see.
So, when you come into this space, what you notice is that there's kind of a break in the wall in the back corner. You can kind of see through it a little bit, and it looks like there's something in there. But the stuff on the ground is probably of more import. It looks like there's a golden crook, kind of like a shepherd's crook, placed on like a broken apart structure that might have been a desk or an altar. And then there's a number of small baubles that are also gold present on the ground there. The gold appears to have kind of like a ruddy red kind of like coloration to it. It's kind of very burnished almost. But you can tell it's gold because of its just the way it glints in the light, Orlandus' light. There are a number of stones present in here. It looks like there was possibly a structure in this corner that you're now looking through, but it has long since kind of fallen away. And looking into that hole that I mentioned, you see what looks like an altar table, and seated on the altar table is a dagger. The dagger is kind of rusted, the blade is kind of old, but the hilt appears to be a serpent coiled around another serpent, which is very much kind of the iconography for the conglomerate.
Interesting.
So, in theory, this might have been a conglomerate space.
Perhaps. But again, yeah, I'm just mentioning it would probably, two snakes kind of in this kind of patterning would definitely first thing you'd think of would be the conglomerate.
Okay. She'll mention the dagger to Orlandis.
Do you think you could grab it, or should we just leave all of these as is?
I mean, the space is the openings. I'm guessing the opening's like small.
Opening's not wide enough for the dagger to fit through, or like the
Oh,
dagger to
okay.
fit through like
Oh.
long ways. Like you'd have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
pull it in like very neatly through. It's not
Yeah.
a massive hole.
Okay. Don't think I can even put my arm through that one.
Sounds like a job for someone with mage hand.
True. So the golden crook, is it like just like standing
No, it's
upright? Oh, it's laying. Okay.
Yeah, it's laying on it.
So it's not okay. So it's not
desk.
stuck on anything.
Right.
Does it look like intact or aged?
Yeah, it looks like it's definitely got a bit of dust on it, and it looks like it's kind of like the gold is kind of discolored a bit just due to, lingering, but other than that, it's fine.
Alright. Orlandis will pick it up to examine it.
Okay, it's got a decent weight to it. It doesn't feel like it's solid. It definitely feels like there's like a central core that's either made out of something else or hollow.
Okay.
And yeah, it's probably about 3 feet long. Kind of has like a rod like length to it, and it just feels kind of, good in the hand. Like it just feels right. Just feels good. Just holding it. It's like, when you're like as a kid, you're walking like on the path and you see a stick on the ground and you pick it up, and in your mind that's like a sword or something. It just feels.
Yeah.
This is a fucking good stick. Same thing's there, but obviously it's a gold crook.
Alright.
Glint and Astrogoth, you two said you were heading southbound. Is that right?
I believe Astrogoth said he was going with Orlandos.
Oh, okay. So then you'd see the rod and the other stuff that's kind of present there. Kind of gold baubles. One of them looks like it's a hat. The other one looks like it is a. It's not an axe. It almost looks like it's just an ornamental kind of axe-like thing. Almost like a hand axe made out of gold, but like very ornately designed.
Would it be like the first thing I'm thinking of is how there was a lot of British like maybe not royalty, but they would have ceremonial ornamental maces that they had.
But
Is
an
it-
axe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the last item appears to be like a chain that almost looks like it's a belt or like something you'd wear over your shoulder.
Fancy.
And historically, Astrogoth, do you have history trained?
Let me go check.
I do.
I do.
Okay, so I'd like for the
Wow.
two of you to make history checks. You're both looking at these very differently.
Ooh.
How do I have history checked?
I would
I don't
say,
know.
actually,
Probably
let's
not
say,
my
go ahead and
kind of
give me a history
history,
check.
though.
You're looking at it in a third light, so you're all looking at these in a very different way. So your results will be
Nice
different.
job, guys.
So, Astrogoth, what you immediately recognize is that the items in question that you're kind of looking at, the pile of stuff, it appears to have been ceremonial, as you suggested, but it appears to have been ceremonial for a holy knight, a Templar, a guardian of a holy site, and you sense the kind of denotation that there's elvish accents here, but your mind also immediately goes to a culture known as the people of Ordris, the large isle in the center of this region, which you know is actually a amalgam of two different civilizations. They're the earlier Janarans, which you know now are the Denisotvans, and a group of individuals to the north from Parnak known as the Vazriel, and they formed the people of Ordris. So you would know that this is a Storm Knight's ceremonial like accoutrement. For Orlandis, holding the shepherd's crook. You know this device? You are familiar with it. A lot of the lordship of Harnack, in their kind of regalia, have a similar device. It is typically regarded as a rod of rulership. Whether this is a magical rod of rulership or not is yet unknown, but basically this symbolizes a person who was important. And then for Lose, all the items I've mentioned so far, you recognize from your own personal history as being markers of one of the six. Specifically, bear with me here, the Queen of Six. The Queen of Six was said to have been a very religiously bound figure, and being a part of the spring societal structure, the Queen of Six was most often recognized as being a representative who was very much in tune with serpents, which kind of makes you think back to the dagger and whether or not it's conglomerate based or not.
Okay. Well, shit. Now she wants it.
Give me that dagger.
Give me that dagger.
Oh, you son. Oh my god.
What?
Radajon is watching, also known as Ford to some in the session, and he got a picture of me. I am just going to go ahead and open that in browser so it's just seen on the stream. That's great. And then I'll copy it and post it here in the Discord just to shame myself a little bit. That is a damn good capture, John. Well done.
That should be a meme.
Anywho,
Good job, John.
the items as mentioned, you can take them as you will. But yeah, they are pretty much gold. Like, lots and lots of gold there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all related?
Yeah, so that you would know that they are all implements of what you would know as the Queen of Six.
Okay.
Member of the Six.
Nice. Is it
like
6?
Six.
SIX.
Okay.
Well, I don't like these just laying around. She'll pick up the one of the ones that's near her and
Okay.
Are
Look at it.
these important in some nature?
they might be related to some lore and stuff, but they definitely shouldn't be just laying about.
Well, technically they weren't. They were in a tomb or a cavern, something. I don't know what this is. But
They're laying about in this cavern, though.
that is true.
Except for that one. She points to the one that's in the crack.
Clint, you make your way down into this cul-de-sac. It definitely looks like this is kind of natural formation, but you do see that there's a stair. The stair doesn't look like it's a natural stair. It almost looks like it was kind of carved with intent. When and where that was done, you're not sure if it's, at the same time as the space was kind of formed out. But it too has a similar kind of nature to the stone floor you entered in on. It looks like it was shaped, like someone shaped the stone to form this space and kind of did it intentionally. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So other than the stone, he's going to go around and kind of just, he's got time to kill. He's kind of waiting for everybody else. So he's going to go around and very carefully check all the walls.
Sure. Yeah, it's all rock. You're not really getting any
Okay.
sensor readings on the tremor sense here. It definitely feels like it's a very dead space.
Undead?
Okay. Cassia, you see kind of touching the stone and like focusing on it with his crown, kind of moving from space to space, doing that.
And I guess after he's done checking that out, he'll go to rejoin everybody else. Like he's not going to go off exploring that
Make a
creepy stairway
perception
by
check real
himself.
quick, Chad.
Okay.
This is just for my funny lols. Okay,
Ooh.
so you're well aware that she's kind of walking up on you and is kind of present in the same space as you, but she's probably quizzically kind of like looking at stuff, right, Tom? Kind of like wondering what the hell he's doing. But yeah, you head back. I assume Lose asks Glint to telekinesis the dagger out.
Yeah.
And-
Should be like, Glint, can you get that dagger out for me? I want to take a closer look at it.
He's going to do it as casually as possible.
Yeah, you just kind of throw your hand out, draw it in, and once it comes out, you kind of take a hold of it, switch it to blade hand, and pass it to her. It doesn't have a terribly good weight to it. Looks like it's mostly weighted in the hilt.
Handle. Yeah.
The dagger just feels very flimsy and rusted, from what you can tell. But looking at the hilt now up close and personal, you can see that it very much is the serpent of this Queen of Six. Like it's not so much the serpent. Let me address that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a snake.
A snake.
Which,
Mm.
because Elvish mentality, serpent means dragon.
Yeah.
So it is not that. It is
And
very,
Arnak mentality.
yeah, also Parnak mentality. Well, yeah, you fought
Yeah.
for the elves in the war. But yeah, it's very much the snake of the Queen of Six.
She'll stash that away. Thank you, Glenn. Did you see anything on your end?
Yeah, there's a stairway over in the other passageway. I didn't go poking around up there because didn't want to get too far from the rest of you.
Orlandis is going to keep the crook.
Okay. Yeah, feels good. Feels right in your hand.
Guess I might as well
But,
take the axe.
Yeah, you got the axe in hand. There was also
Is
the
this-
chain sash, and
She'll take that.
the was that a hat? I said a hat.
Yeah.
You did say a hat.
So we're taking
Would it-
everything.
Would it match my ostentatious outfit? That's important if I take the hat or not.
So let's explain every item just like quickly in detail. The hat is made out of metal. It appears to have gold as its primary kind of metal shaping, but when you actually look at the interior of the hat, it looks like it is not lined anymore. The lining has gone over time, so it's just kind of like a steel bucket inside. It looks like. It almost looks like a bowler hat, but like the brim has been pushed up like a crown. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
It's-
chain sash looks like it's a very ornately designed chain that could be worn around the waist if cinched correctly, or could be worn around like the shoulder. Then the axe we already described, yeah, it's very much just kind of a ceremonial looking thing. It's probably got a longer haft than you'd expect for kind of a hand axe, and then the head is just very small and like very ornately kind of depicts some sort of hawk on it, and then the dagger is just two snakes kind of coiled together. Their mouths are the pommel, and their tails kind of wind together at the base of the blade, which then extends from those two.
Okay.
Hmm.
Cool.
Okay. So I think we all go to
Yep.
the stair.
Absolutely. So, Glint, you make your way to the weird staircase, and you can wind your way around. While you're doing that, I will mention that as you kind of make your way into the first bend, you get this very strange kind of ping from the tremor sense. It's
I'd like to say I'm moving stealthily.
oh, for sure. Again, won't be terribly important. It's almost like something is tapping. Kind of like, I don't know if that's coming through or not.
No.
Okay, so
Oh,
it's like
no.
Can't hear the
Tap.
tap.
tap. Like it's almost like it's happening in kind of like a perfectly timed sync.
Hmm.
But it seems like something is hitting the ground to the north of you.
Right.
or south of you.
Glint thinks about it for a second and then comes to the conclusion that it's likely a water drip.
Could be
And then he said that was to the north.
south.
South.
South. Okay, yeah. Then he pauses, kind of considers that for a moment, and then continues moving forward.
Okay. So when you come into this next space, we're going to discuss a couple things before you move around too much. It looks like there is on the ground more of a semblance of structure. The ceiling is still a bit low, about 7-ish feet, 8 feet. But from what you can tell, it looks like there must have been a higher ceiling at some point. You believe that's the case because when you look to the left of yourself, you see a number of pillars that look like they just kind of have their base, like they're, plinth and such, that they go up, but it looks like they're kind of burying themselves into the stone of the ceiling. Not like they were formed, like the stone formed around them, I guess is the best way to kind of explain that. The ground does appear to have old markings, which those who got the history checks in the other room will note that it does appear to be old Ordric writing, or Ordris, like royal language. And the pillars have a number of different motifs on them. The one that stands out to you is on this pillar specifically, and it's because this pillar seems to have the most of the top of it showing to you. The symbol in question appears to be a round circle with a dot in the middle, and then sunbeams coming off of the top only, which Astrogoth, because of your history check from before, you would know is the crown of Ordric. It is a symbol that is sun-related and has to do with the noble structure of the island of Ordris, which again you're pretty close to. It refers to the Herald of the Storms.
Okay.
And what was your question?
Hey.
I was just going to ask, so just to confirm, these the Ordric people had a thing for the sun and snakes together.
Well, the snakes not so much.
Okay.
So it would be the sun, storms, and hawks. Those are the three things.
Big fans of the sky stuff. Got it.
Yes, they like the sky. And then the other thing you'll notice in this room is what appears to be the broken parts of a statue of some sort of knight. It just looks like the statue was knocked over, and the knight's pieces are kind of all over the place. There's a round shield, broken blade. There's a head with a helmet, and like other pieces that are kind of all throughout the ground there. And there's a seeming bit of light coming through the wall on the western side of this. There's also a staircase that descends down from there, or up, sorry. And the source of the hammering does appear to be coming from the roof here. You would know that it's now even more present as you can hear it in different, or feel it in different spaces around here, specifically further to the south.
That sounds like hammering, not like droplets.
No, so to the tremor sense, it feels like something hard is kind of hitting the ground, which, again, he's not able to tell it's a splish splash, it's just something thudding against the ground with a tremor sense.
Glint is going to make his way around to where the light is coming from. He's going to stay close to the wall the whole time.
Sure.
And as he's making his way over here, he's kind of keeping an eye out for any sort of he's looking for traps or like environmental hazards.
Absolutely fine. So looking through this narrow space, which is about as wide as the hole that you got the dagger from, you're able to see into what appears to be a very much larger chamber. The ground in this space is similar to the ground that you're currently standing on. It looks like this might have served as an extension of the room that you're in. Like they were connected at one point and yet no longer due to this structure falling into place. You see on the ground what looks like dried flesh, kind of just laying in large sheets on the ground. And you take a second to look at it, and being a monster hunter, you would recognize that it appears to be a very large snake skin, kind of laying on the ground.
Oh shit!
Looking around further, Lose, you see more statues of these knights. They all appear to have the same kind of look to them. They have like a hawk wing on their helmets. They have very intense looking faces, a sword and a shield. Looks like these are warriors. And as you kind of describe them out, and Astrogoth, you get a look at them, they appear to be very finely crafted statues of Ordris warriors, like members of the honor guard of like a priest or a master of the storms from the island in the center of your region here. They're very finely crafted, amazingly detailed, very wonderful, like all kind of in action poses.
Okay.
In that chamber. And then there also appears to be a motif on the ground that appears to have snakes and the like on it as well. And if your monster senses are tingling, I'll go ahead and let you know. Glint probably has the same thought that you're thinking right now. I don't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, what are their facial expressions like?
Yeah, it looks like they're in battle.
Continuing that line of inquiry, I'm
feel free to voice your hypothesis.
I'm suspecting these individuals were petrified.
Perhaps.
Mayhap.
And I suspect that snakeskin has something to do with it.
Is this traversable?
So
Or
it's very,
you said
very
it-
narrow. It's like just kind of like you could barely fit your hand through.
Okay, gotcha.
If you have teleportation, it definitely has an access point that allows you to do so, like Misty Step or what have you. But you're
It's
not
a
going to be able to.
one-way street.
It is a one-way
Okay.
ticket. That one.
I do have a miner's pick. I could probably try to work at making this a bit more accessible.
Okay. So, I mean, again, if you want to do that, if anybody wants to voice any reasons why that might be a bad idea, you can go ahead and do so.
I mean,
I think that would be
Knights
too much
might
noise.
be
it's a
one
it's a
clue.
potential idea. Not exactly gonna indulge it at the moment. I'm just saying it is an option.
Given
Um,
all the other ruins here may not want to affect any structural integrity.
Yeah.
Okay. So heading south, it's kind of an uphill on the steps there. When you get to the top, you see a pool of water. The water appears to be stagnant. It does seem to have some drip from like the ceiling, but not a massive amount. What you do see more kind of dripping from the ceiling is like bits of dirt, and you would note that there's dirt kind of falling in and about this area. For the tremor sense, it feels like there's just these very small but very noticeable ticks all throughout the space, and some of them are large enough to kind of trick you to think that they're footprints. So you kind of like snap over to that and kind of look, and the tremor sense seems to be kind of alert to it, but yeah, you're hesitant to kind of
Is
acknowledge
this-
that it's messing with your senses here. The pool of water looks like it goes very, very far down, deep.
Okay.
Looks like it's one of those kind of pools of water that you've seen all throughout Carden. That looks like it probably delves down into the Foul Deep itself. It doesn't have anything rushing through it. It's clear enough that you can see down pretty far with your light and also with dark vision. It does look like there is a climb up ahead on the side there that would lead to somewhere else inside the cavern structure. That'd be this kind of space over here.
Okay.
Do you want me to check out
Hell yeah.
down below?
Oh. Well, I mean, yeah, it's either that or the climb.
I mean, I can do either.
I'd say check the bottom of this of this water. See if there is anything down there.
Okay, so just to
Okay.
make sure, I may not have been clear in the first bit. It looks
No,
like
it's
this
essentially
tunnel
bottomless.
goes down to the Foul Deep,
Oh,
Right.
okay. So never mind that then.
which is John Dupre campaign setting version of the Underdark. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet down.
The legally distinct.
Legally
Version.
distinct version. And yeah,
So then,
this
yeah,
is the
check over here.
cleanest water that you've seen that kind of delves down that way. Because remember, the sewer ways, the water was pretty gross.
mhm.
Although I guess you have seen the water that's in the lake. You could technically consider connected to the Foul Deep due to the Kuatoa coming out of it. The lake that Kavar's house is next to. So that's pretty clean under dark water too.
Yeah, I was just curious if perhaps down there was like if there's a shelf or a bend, stuff had ended up in the bottom.
I mean, if you want to swim
Um,
down there, we can do that. But I mean, it's up to you and the group.
Rather just go across.
Yeah, I'd say
Yeah.
sideline wise, 300 feet down with Castia's like vision, she's not seeing anything that's like popping out.
Yeah, 300
Also-
feet is pretty substantial.
You're still pumping the initiative on Orlandis, right? I just want to re-clarify. And are you throwing the vision on anybody or no?
I haven't done the vision yet, but he will be the one getting the advantage on initiative thing as
Cool.
per.
So this area surrounding the pillars, there's no other passageways there.
Nope.
Okay, so it looks like the only real exit points from here are that narrow passageway leading into that brightly lit space, and then this area over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Glint's going to take the lead, proceeding stealthily, scoping out this area, keeping
Okay.
tabs on his tremor sense. He gets to about right here and kind of checks out his tremor sense to see what's what.
Yeah, still getting a bunch of like dirt hitting the ground and like drippings, but anything different. So it looks like the path breaks here again. So it looks like you can go south into kind of a natural area, or you can go west, which looks like it leads to a shrine of some sort, a structure with a shrine.
He pops back around the corner and kind of waves everybody on.
Can we, without spider climbing, get over there?
You can swim.
Okay.
You can try and run and jump. You can,
Here, I'll make it easy for you.
We'll just swim.
Yeah,
Around
Glint is
the
he's gonna tie a rope off to this pillar and just hand it
they're
off.
already
So they got
swimming across. So Lose kind
Okay.
of just dives in, pops out on the other side. Orlandis kind of pops into the water, in his armor, but focused on the wall, kind of pulling himself along, very militarily, kind of processed through. Cassia, I'm assuming, dives in. Probably the first time you've ever swam, right?
No, we went in that like water tunnel
Oh, yeah,
at one time. Yeah,
Okay, so
And
you're
we
like,
went into the dragon pool.
you're like a pro
Second
at this. And Astragoth.
I mean, I imagine I'm going across as well, but he probably paces back and forth a few times. He's like, I don't really want to get these clothes dirty or wet. He goes,
Okay. I mean, full clothes, or do you want to leave your clothes behind? Or do you want to take your clothes, put them in a bag, throw them across, jump in, swim across, put the clothes back on?
no, he's not
Okay.
that pompous.
Fair enough. So popping in, it's easy enough for you to kind of wade, especially with your, long grasp, and you're able to get across relatively easy without getting too much water on the cloak. And the peacock feathers actually do a good job of kind of keeping the top area dry. But once you're all across, we've got two paths. Looks like a shrine area to the north direction and south direction, yet unexplored.
Glint, do you want to check up north or do you want to check the south? Dude, I think you're muted.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
probably. Chad.
I was muted. What?
Do you wish to explore the north side or the south side?
I am seeing how the north side sort of circles back around. Glint suspects that's going to link up with the other area.
Well, it doesn't look like there's an exit actually on the north
Yeah,
side.
well, we haven't really explored it.
That's true.
So that's probably something Glint's going to be looking for when we make our way over there. But for now, he's going to continue on down this way.
So, looking at the south side, it looks like it's a long path that continues on. At the edge of your kind of vision, it does look like the stone changes to the more structured tiling of the larger chamber, and also that small bit of floor you had near the pillars.
So much like before, proceeding stealthily
Okay.
and avoiding Orlandis' light so he has as much cover as possible,
All right.
while also
When you
being
get
on the lookout.
to about here, there's definitely a sensation of like motion, but it's very fluid. It almost feels like something is moving on the floor that is either water or some other type of element that is very kind of flowing. And as you kind of come up to the space, you do see some spider webs, but they're not, your Monster Hunter eyes aren't telling you that they're giant spiders or anything crazy. It just looks like regular ass spider webs, just a lot of them in this one tight kind of corner here. And looks like the wall on the north side of that space breaks out. So if you want to move up that way.
I just want to preface: shield up, hood on.
Sure.
Get your anti-spider spray.
Yes.
Glint takes the dodge action as he moves forward.
Absolutely. So, looking into this space, you see a pillar directly in front of you. This pillar goes from floor to ceiling, and the ceiling in this room is 30 feet up. Which, to your mind, leads you to presume that this is probably only 10 to 20 feet below the farm.
Oh.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And this is not a space that would be covered by the ruins. Like, the ruins are kind of more central. Like, the room that we were talking about with all the frozen guys, or the statues that are not petrified guys, maybe, I don't know. That's probably right underneath the ruins.
The extremely lifelike statues.
Yes. They're so good at craftsmanship.
Yeah.
But yeah, this space here looks like it's pretty high ceilinged, but your assumption is it's not too far below the farm. Looking into the room, you see a waterway that kind of moves across the floor, or at least what you think is a waterway. It doesn't look like it has a point of exit. It's just a very, very neatly designed flooring, which has bronze exterior, and the center appears to be kind of like a jade surface. And as you look at it, the jade surface kind of scintillates, almost like a snake's scales, like administered in like water, like seen with light reflecting off of it in water. On the right side of this room, once you step in, you'll see that there is a large altar on the right side, and directly on the back end of that large altar is a cobra. The cobra's eyes are glowing kind of a soft yellowish color, almost as if it was like someone put like light bulbs in there, like old style kind of like, that washed yellow kind of glow.
So real quick, these spider webs, are those bones?
No, just spider webs.
Okay. So Glint is going to, still being stealthy, he's going to climb all the way up the back of this pillar and then shimmy around to the front of it.
Okay.
So that he can survey like the whole room.
All right. Once at the top, there's this hair-raising effect. Like, there's just a certain kind of like electricity to this space that kind of like causes your hairs, despite your near undead nature, to kind of stand on end, especially at the top of this space.
Is this like something I can Arcana?
Yeah, if you'd like to try to make an Arcana check, you can.
Gross.
You have no idea.
Oh,
Yep, no idea.
Damn, it's spooky.
It is spooky. We'll call it that.
My spidey sense is tingling.
All right, Orlandis, the room is described. If there's any questions about anything in particular you want to ask about, you certainly can. The pillars that you're seeing here are identical to the pillars in the other chamber. So at about a 7-foot height, you see the symbol that I mentioned, the Storm Herald's ground, and then that symbol repeats about 3 times before the top of the roof.
okay. And
Top of the ceiling.
in this statuesque, like the eyes
The
are like
eyes are kind of glowing a soft yellow light, like light bulbs, not like newer light bulbs, like old, like
Yeah.
light
The old incandescent bulbs.
Yes.
the piss yellow light.
piss yellow.
And then there's a
What?
large altar that looks like it has kind of a serpent's sign on it. It's about 3 feet high, and it looks like the surface of it is made out of some shiny kind of silvery metal. The floor has bronze pathways that inside of the bronze pathways there's jade, and the jade seems to kind of scintillate like it was glistening. And as you get close to it, Orlandis, you kind of feel the hairs on the back of your neck and on your arms kind of like perking up.
Does this feel like a trap?
I don't
Like
know.
someone would set for grave robbers?
I don't know.
John, does the giant cobra statue trigger anything for a religion check, or is it all just okay?
Nope.
Okay. You know what? Orlandis is gonna pick up a rock or something, or like a bit of sand, and just toss it onto the walkway.
Okay.
Does anything happen?
It's the walkway.
Alright, fuck it. Orlandis is gonna walk over the walkway,
Stop.
and then...
Make a
Okay.
Constitution saving throw.
Yep. Figured. 21.
The second you step on it, there's a loud pop, and it feels like you are completing kind of a circuit. You watch as the eyes in the snake's head glow, and you can see this kind of rush of lightning kind of shoot across the floor, taking Orlandis quite a bit. With that save, you'll only take 17 points of damage, lightning damage. Yeah, you can continue moving across if you'd like, or jump.
Yes, I will jump this way
Cool.
if I can.
All right. The second he leaves it, the pop and the kind of rush of lightning stops, and it just seems to kind of go calm again. Glint, from your higher position, you'll realize that it wasn't so much stepping on the platform. What you're noticing there from a higher height is the lightning is an entire wall that rushes across the length of the room from floor to ceiling. And when the lightning popped down there, it seemed like this wall of lightning was visible to you on a higher scale that was just kind of like this static that was kind of popping in front of you. Muted.
Did it look like it originated from the snake's eyes?
No, it definitely looked like it originated from the floor. Like the floor, like entering into it was what caused the circuit, for lack of a better terminology, to be completed.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, Glint's gonna do what he does best. He goes back down to the floor. He's gonna move over to this side. He's gonna go up the wall and over and around the cobra.
Okay, 1 second before we get to that. Answering your question in the chat, Elizabeth. Not so much. The only things that you kind of can remember based on your role from before regarding the Queen of Six are as follows. She is known for being a very Artemis-like figure. She is a huntress. She fights with the bow. She's very keen at stealth. She is said to be as quick as the lightning strike. So that in that kind of relation is the only thing that's kind of like, oh, okay, there's kind of a motif here. But other than that, it's like she's not a spellcaster. She, to your knowledge, she doesn't do lightning stuff. It just seems that whoever built this for some sort of defense measure. Oh, internet's broken.
Interwebs.
No worries. But yeah, caught you up there. You are going up and over the statue, is that right? Chad?
Going up and around the statue?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
up and over the statue, sure.
Yep.
There's no behind. Okay. So as you kind of get over top of it and start making your way across, I need you to go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Fuck.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
Okay, this is probably going to be the worst one because it's going to shoot you off of that wall. Go ahead and give me a D8 roll.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so when you get to here, the circuit completes. You watch as the entire kind of field emanates. From your position, you can kind of see the line now. It seems that that whole serpent path, the altar beneath you, the snake itself, and everything above the head is kind of the lightning wall. It pops, it connects with you. You take 28 points of lightning damage. You are shot off of it in this direction, and you fall. It would be about 15 feet. So you would take 2 points of bludgeoning damage or falling damage as you hit the ground near Orlando.
Can I make an acrobatics check to try and stick the landing?
I would say because of the amount of damage that was dealt to you, I'm not going to allow the.
Hold on. What was the amount of damage?
28 for the lightning damage.
28. All right. Reaction. Gonna use my
If you
protective
can mitigate
shield.
that underneath 10, I will say you'll have the wherewithal to be able to stick the landing.
I don't think I can do 18
was
points of damage.
It was a
But
sudden jolt that kind of popped you off, like if you've seen Jurassic Park, the kid on the gate. It's like that. Like that happened on the wall, and so you kind of
So-
shot off the wall and kind of like flew in that direction and hit the ground. Kind of
so that's reduced by
7,
so that's reduced to 21. So I take 21 points of lightning damage.
and then 2 points of falling damage.
Okay.
So this entire line is a giant
Yeah.
wall that stretches from floor to ceiling.
It seems that would be the case.
Did
Okay.
it look like it originated from the statue head?
Maybe.
Like when it went off?
Yeah. So like the eyes glow more when the field is activated. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to determine. If you could cover up the thing's eyes, is that going to like stop this from?
Well, yeah. The second you kind of got over the statue is when it popped. So you're not sure. Like, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Okay.
Okay.
22.
So it
Nice.
definitely feels like the battery for the field is the serpent head. It feels like that when something enters into the field, be it above the ground, or above the altar, or above the snake, in that line, kind of zigzagging, it will cause the field to activate, kind of creating a circuit effectively, and forcing lightning into whatever that thing is.
Yeah, I should have tried to cross over here.
Looking at it, it would seem that the main point of kind of grounding that you're noticing, like where it would hurt the worst if you tried it, is the altar itself.
Mm.
Like it feels like that is more sensitive and more kind of charged. The best way to describe it.
Glint's bloody, by the way.
Ugh.
I think it's more of a searing effect probably at this moment in time, but
he's spitting.
Yeah,
out
he's
blood.
definitely cooked.
I'm questioning whether it's a sight thing or if it's like a touch thing. No, because Glint was above it and it still went off. And I'm assuming most of the visuals for the snakehead is forward, right?
Yeah.
Not above? Okay.
Correct.
So it's like, I think it's like an alarm thing, where if you cross a certain threshold, it just goes up.
Right.
I think like we should just have everyone that's on the other side go at one time.
If you two have any ideas as to what you've seen, to kind of like, I'm assuming you're relaying everything you're learning.
Yeah.
So those of you who are not crossed, or if you have ideas on the opposite side that you want to try, I mean, you certainly are welcome to it. But yeah.
I mean, I can use telekinetic movement to literally move somebody through the air so they don't touch anything.
well,
I'm sure that Misty Step would be able to cross the threshold with no problems.
teleport would probably not, be a problem. Yeah, that probably won't present anything. But again, Glint, so far as to say, what you're able to tell is this: it's not so much a touching anything. It's there's this field kind of present, this static charged field in space, and the second that it is kind of touched by presumably organic material, definitely not sand, it very much causes a connection, and that lightning flows through you.
All right, well, let's science this motherfucker.
Could try to break the eyes or cover the eyes.
Glint takes a spear and throws it into one of the eyes.
Okay, roll a d100.
I don't
wait,
like
it's
that.
Orlandus that's supposed to lose a spear.
Not today.
Okay.
65.
So it hits perfectly on the nose. You don't need to roll any attack roll. It hits perfectly, not on the nose, on the eye. Sorry, you're going for the eye. Bam! And then when it hits, you watch it bounce off very forcibly, hitting the ground on the opposite side near Lose's feet.
Mm.
She's not touching that.
Do the
There's definitely a moment when it strikes that you kind of see the current of the field, but it's just a momentary instance.
Mm. We actually heard that from your audio, Elizabeth.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Coming in.
we can hear you now.
Yay! Sorry,
There she goes again.
Wait, say something.
It's gone.
No, you're gone. You're gone again.
From watching it from this side and seeing that, does it look like it's magical in nature, something that the trigger could be dispelled, or
It
is
definitely
it?
feels like there's some sort of trick to it, but what that trick is, to be certain, you're not sure. Like, let's put on display what we have available here. The ground has kind of the bronze out exterior. The jade seems to be kind of currently driven. That's why there's like that sheen across it. There's like a glow to it. There is the altar, which appears to be made out of some sort of silver material, and based on what Glint was able to discern, it seems that the strongest amount of charge is on that altar. So if you were trying to run across the altar, that might not be the best of ideas, but who knows, maybe that's important for some reason. And then there's the cobra head with the two glowing, piss yellow light eyes, and when the lightning happens, when the field is kind of breached, the eyes glow bright for just a moment. A direct strike on the eye did nothing, didn't even scratch the what would be considered glass, but looking at it more and more glint, you realize it's crystal. It does not appear that those can be destroyed to stop the effect.
Do they look like they are secured in there, or they could possibly?
Oh
be
yeah, they look
removed?
like they're pretty good in there. Yep. Sorry, you were saying something, Zach?
Yeah, I was just asking who has the snake dagger right now?
I think Lasse.
But also, if we had some way to cover up or break part of the pathway, that might do something. But
Do you ask for it, Master God?
Well, I have a theory.
Okay.
It's probably nothing, but yeah, if I was to ask for the dagger and then take the dagger and the axe, and I'm just wondering if there would be any connection with the statue that would allow me to pass.
So looking at the dagger and the axe, you remember the axe was kind of haphazardly kind of tossed to the side.
Right.
Looking at the dagger, what you realize is that the blade appears to be made out of the same material as the altar. Very silver-looking material. The blade is slightly rusted, mind you, but it does appear that they are cut from the same cloth, so to speak.
Well, then either it's going to hurt a lot.
And also, too, remember where you found the dagger.
Right.
Maybe if you put the dagger on the altar, it'll turn it off. Maybe? I don't know.
How fine is your telekinetic powers there, my friend?
Clint?
He basically has an invisible mage hand he can use at will, and then I can also move with like a bit more effort. I can move a large object up to 30 feet.
Do you think you'd be able to get this over with the altar? I don't know if it would fit in there somehow. We're not over there, but...
What, the dagger?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to sit on the altar if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. I mean, and you're within 30 feet. He could just take it out of your hand from here.
Yeah. You want to do that?
So, yeah, he'll do that.
Yeah, it's worth a shot, I guess.
And what are you doing with the dagger?
Is the altar area, is that like raised?
Yeah, so it's about 3.5 feet, this part right here.
Okay.
And the top of it is made out of that silver, and it's like kind of, like there's an emboss effect that kind of causes the snake to kind of like settle inside.
Okay. Is is there any part of the altar or perhaps like the statue's mouth that looks like, something is supposed to be...
No, it doesn't look like there's any keyholes or anything. But if you're kind of maneuvering the dagger around it, what you'll notice is that there seems to be an effect between the altar and the dagger. There seems to be a very strong kind of pulse of lightning between the two as it gets closer. And what you're seeing is the dagger is actually kind of shaving away the rust, like it's being electrolyzed.
Yeah, so he'll move and basically move to put the dagger like centrally on the altar.
Once you set it on the altar glows neatly. The scintillation across the floor stops, and the glowing of the eyes is bright, bright, bright white. And that feeling of kind of static in the air, in the space, dispelled.
Neato.
Huzzah!
Nicely done!
But Cassia walks across, I assume, is what
yeah,
you're saying.
yeah, she runs across as soon as she feels the air change. Like, whoop.
and she does not fry or die or get lightninged.
Nice.
Fine work.
It only took 2 lightning strikes.
It was a bit of a puzzle. You nailed
Yeah.
it.
Fine work.
Ooh!
Space ahead.
That's 2 puzzles I solved, guys!
Mhm.
Wait, you solved it?
Yeah, that's
I
Yeah, pretty sure it was actually.
Yeah.
You were the physical part of this solving.
I
But
helped.
I'll split it with you.
I helped.
You did the dumb thing, and then I did the smart thing. Teamwork.
True. Teamwork,
Oh,
baby.
God bless you.
So looking at the space ahead, it looks like there is a kind of small balcony that you'll basically be moving out onto. Now, if you recall, when you first came into this space, you kind of climbed up the steps to where the pool was, the straight column of water down, and then there was a little bit more stair that kind of led up. This seems to descend back down to what you would consider kind of ground level from where you started. I guess this is the best way to describe it. Directly in front of you are 2 pillars that seem to stand out on their own little kind of sections that are flanking what appears to be a stone bridge. The stone bridge in question does not appear to have any form of structure hanging it in the air or any form of structure that's holding it aloft, but it appears to be held out over a massive cavity of just darkness that just falls and falls and falls into space. On the right side of this area, you see that there is a railing that the bridge and then stairs lead up to. And from what you can tell, it leads to a large opening. And you're pretty sure you saw the other side of this when looking in the hole in the pillar room.
I'm assuming if Castia tries to look down into the abyss, there's no bottom, even
Do you
300
head
feet.
over the ledge, or are you just kind of looking down at it from a distance?
Probably looking at it from here, because you said there's no stuff underneath
Yeah, solid
holding it
black.
up, so
Solid
nothing.
black.
Okay.
All right. Glint's looking a lot less burned, a lot more thankful. Oh fuck.
Oh, is that a chest over there?
Yeah, so
Oh,
if you look
God.
ahead, it does look like there is kind of a shining light kind of in this far chamber that's a golden chest with serpent designs on it. Looks like on the front facing of the treasure chest in question, there's like a just strangely designed man whose mouth is kind of like, and his hands are up like this.
Is it it's a statue?
No, it's like the carving on the front.
Oh,
facing.
okay.
And so inside of the mouth is where the keyhole appears to be.
I'm
Does
sorry.
it
And
look-
what were the golden items that we had?
So
We got
you
a
have
crook.
a chain, a hat, a ceremonial axe,
X.
a ceremonial crook, and then the dagger's still back there.
Okay. And then what'd you say the guy's like expression was?
So there's the treasure chest, which is about like 3 feet high. It's a pretty big one. And then on the top of it, you can see what look like snake motifs. But on the front face, like that you're looking at, there's like a very strangely designed like man whose hands are kind of up to the side of his head, and then his mouth is like, and inside of his mouth is where the keyhole is.
It doesn't look like his hands are made to grasp anything.
No.
Okay.
It just looks like he's holding his hands up to the side.
Hey,
Yeah.
Glenn,
Yeah. Go ahead, Jonah.
can you mage hand that dagger back once we all cross?
Sure.
Okay.
The dagger is perfectly cleaned, has kind of a shine to it. Clean as new, like perfectly pristine. If you hand it back to Lose, you've handed it back to her in better condition that you took it, which is, I think, a first. And that's great.
Also,
That's team
Glenn-
building.
Usually
you
when I borrow a dagger, it comes back very bloody.
Yeah, or lost.
Glint, can you also spider climb to that chest?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Glenn, I need you to tell me what your course of action is going to be here.
Okay. I would.
Sounds dangerous.
So I'm gonna go along this wall here.
Okay, and you reach out over the darkness to start climbing that way.
Not when you phrase it like that, probably.
I just want to make sure that I don't want Chad to think that it's going to happen the way he thinks it's going to happen, because it is going to go very different. And I'll
He
explain.
just wants to walk
I'll explain how it works, Chad, if you want me to. The second you touch through, like over the darkness, there's this momentary kind of just wisp, just kind of sound that kind of like fills your ears, and everyone can hear it. And there's this kind of just blue sheen that kind of appears in front of you for just a moment as you kind of breach the space over the darkness. Your hand touches that to kind of get a secure kind of grasp, and you can't seem to get a touch on it. What you notice, though, is that your hand seems to be moving at a much slower pace, and it feels like it weighs a lot less than it did when you had it on this side of the chasm. So when you put your hand through, it's almost like you're under the effect of a feather fall, just that portion of your hand, and you're trying to touch the ground there, the wall.
Like punching somebody in your dreams.
Yeah, but you're like touching the wall, and it's like you can't get the spider stick.
Wait, everyone has one of those dreams?
I don't like this. I hate this place.
All right.
So it
We got to
looks
throw
like he-
Orlandis. He'll sail.
Yeah,
It'll get
he
there.
just looks at Orlandis and like shakes his head and he says, "Yeah, that's it's not gonna work."
Alright, we'll go normally then.
Okay, so the second that you pass across and onto the space, this would be for Orlandis and not Lose because she backed up. I see you.
Landis and not Los.
Yeah, she said nope. He said words. Fuck that. So Orlandis, the second you
There was an implied "do you," and I'm.
the second that you step onto the bridge, the foot passes over the threshold, right? And you feel like your foot's weight changes immensely as you're basically putting your boot down. There's an immediate kind of sense of urgency in your heart because you're like, I know I'm wearing heavy armor. My foot should be falling a lot faster than this, and it is not. And so, like, your boot finally, with some effort, touches the bridge, and you're kind of looking at it like, and then you just pick up the next one and start moving, and you're moving very awkwardly. You're not moving any slower.
Okay.
You're just, every time you start to descend, for any reason, no matter what it is, it seems to be kind of limited. Like there's this force that's
Do I
resisting
feel
you
lighter?
falling.
Oh, okay. Do I feel lighter?
No, not really. It just feels like whatever it is that's in this space is causing you to fall at a much slower rate.
Gotcha.
Astu's
Okay.
probably laughing back here watching the awkward stepping.
So I'll just continue to make my way.
Yeah, very slowly, maybe not lifting your feet as high to kind of like slide across the stone instead.
Yeah.
Once you get to this space, you're able to see into the room, kind of up a stair.
Mhm.
And it looks like in this way, when you're looking at it, in the center of the ceiling of that room, there is a massive golden motif that has serpents kind of radiating out from it.
Mhm.
And in the center of it is a kind of jade-colored symbol of two snakes kind of encircling one another. Which, again, to you in your
Oh,
mind, the
that's
conglomerate is very much that symbol. It's two snakes kind of intertwining, right? Or kind of like connected
Okay.
and kind of forming C's. It's very much that symbol. And there's
Is
just...
that called?
Go ahead.
Is it called filigree?
Yeah, the gold filigree. Yeah,
Okay. All right. Just making sure.
yeah, exactly right. And so that's on the ceiling. It's a very ornate kind of styling. It has like a very... It's almost like that weird symbol is kind of centered in what appears to be like an eye-like motif, and it
Mhm.
kind of almost feels like it's looking at you. But that can't be because it's obviously an inanimate thing, right?
Yeah, that's impossible.
I like that. I like
But from
that,
here,
I
it
like
doesn't
that.
Wink
seem
at
to
it.
have any kind of strange effect on you other than, the fact that you're slow walking. Okay, so you make it to there, and then what?
I keep going.
Okay, once you get to that next step, back
Oh.
one, you run
Uh-oh.
into what feels like a wall, but there's no
Oh.
wall there. It looks like there should be a space to walk, but you slam into what feels like a wall, and you kind of start kind of feeling it out, and it definitely is some sort of invisible wall that's present in front of you, that's barring you from walking the next step forward to the path you wish to go on.
Does it feel
I-
like stone?
It feels harder than stone.
Something like
It
that.
sounds like it's time to tap the empty space on either side of you.
I will do that.
Okay, there's no things barring you from tapping the sides.
Can I take my spear and poke like to to the right here down to
Yeah.
see if there's like
There's
a floor
nothing
there? Okay. Yeah. There is a wall here.
No, there isn't.
It is invisible. I
Uh,
don't know.
So as far as invisible walls go, I'm sure Orlandis could try and mime and do a great job of it, although not as good as like an Astrogoth or what have you. But like he's definitely seems to be like there is something that is like molding to his gloves. Like he slammed his face into it. You can see the like distortion of his skin against something.
That's a funny trick.
There's definitely a wall there.
Does it feel like... I mean, like, when I go like this, like, you know when you rub your hand across something?
Yeah.
Does it feel, like, flat and smooth?
Perfectly
bumpy? Okay.
Perfectly smooth. And it feels like it kind of goes off to the right. So it's a vertical wall that's kind of held out across the entirety of that side.
Flint!
If you kind of reach and kind of feel out, you actually feel where it ends on the left side, but then kind of moving around, you feel that it kind of boxes in the space. So I'll go ahead and give you a little doodle so you can kind of have an idea of what I'm saying here.
Okay. So to the left, if I feel it, it ends, like right here.
Bear with me here.
But then if I feel right, it keeps going.
So with your spear and what you've been able to do, this is kind of the effect that you're looking at here.
Oh, that's rude. Okay. I don't know what to do here.
I mean, you could try and jump across that chasm since you're falling so slowly.
That was an idea.
I mean, there could also be invisible platform somewhere. That seems like a classic Dark Souls maneuver.
True. Very true. I mean, Orlandis is just gonna keep feeling around with
what's
his
the worst
spear.
that could happen if you try and jump across? There could be a wall there and you fall for the rest of your natural life?
But twice as much time because you're flying at a slower rate.
So, if he continues to feel to the right with his spear, right? So
like you're
this whole
feeling
thing
off to the right in the air, or were you doing what you said before and feeling towards the ground?
towards the ground.
Okay. So yeah, you're nothing seems to be kind of now there. It definitely feels like your spear is manipulated by something. From what you can tell.
Oh, wow.
There does
wow,
appear to
that
be
fast?
some
You didn't
sort
even
of
have dinner yet.
something that's kind of at ground level that your spear is kind of jutting against.
And it feels solid.
Feels as solid as that wall you bumped into, yeah. Harder
All
than
right.
steel.
I'll walk on it.
You all watch as Orlandis seems to walk out onto thin air and starts making his way across.
I'll continue to feel my way forward, make sure there's footing, and then keep going, and then keep going.
Okay. Once you stop there, you realize that there is a hole in front of you. There's a path to the left, which kind of maneuvers around to the other side of the weird wall, so you would think. And then there's the path to the right that leads up the stairs to the main chamber. And then there's the path in front of you, which has got a hole in it, and it looks like it leads to the treasure chest.
I'm gonna check the floor with my spear, see if there's a walkway again.
There's not, but what you'll notice is your spear breaches over the gap here. Very, very different. Instead of being kind of hard to force down, like it was just a moment ago, it feels like it almost just snaps right out of your hand, straight into the ground. Like the gravity level was turned in the other direction, up to like 11. And you're kind of like, oh god, get the spear back. I don't want to lose another one.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I almost had you make a dexterity saving throw, but I was like, come on. Don't do this to the guy.
That'd be fucked up.
It would be fucked up. That would be a horrible trick.
What type of person would do that?
I'm gonna go to the right.
Okay.
Feeling my way.
Yeah, so
Just
here
in
it's
case.
there's no walls, there's nothing that's going to smash into you. You'll be able to get to the stair if you'd like.
Okay, yeah. I'll go where it's there. Do.
Okay.
Do. Right.
For everybody else watching Orlandis, like there's no sound differential, there's no crazy change of pitch or anything. You can hear him tapping around, and you can follow him if you'd like.
Yeah. Glenn's gonna do one better. He still has this giant bag of ashes. So he's going to retrace Orlandis' steps, and he's going to sprinkle ashes as he goes.
Perfect.
I was gonna do the same thing with my little bag of sand, so I'm glad
Your
that we're on
pocket
the same
sand?
page.
Pocket
Yeah.
sand. You can still use that for a cool maneuver.
Not that way. I'm not falling into.
Yeah, I think that treasure chest is a
Trap.
deep
A ruse.
Yeah.
I think that pocket sound will come in handy if we ever fight something with a lot of eyes.
Okay. So nobody's gonna make their way to try and do anything with the treasure chest.
We'll circle back to it.
Okay,
It's
so
not.
let's look at this space a little bit more in depth. I'll go ahead and focus on it here. So as I mentioned, there are massive kind of snakeskins. The pattern that you see on the floor is the same pattern that's on the ceiling, except that the eye is more open. It's almost hard to discern that it is an eye. And then the iris, which is the two snakes kind of coiling around one another, is kind of fully realized. It's like the whole circle, right? The rings that you're seeing kind of present there on the space, those are pillars, but they're not like thick enough for me to have used the like block off metric. The people all throughout the space are kind of doing their thing, and there's obviously the holes in the ground there. Looking to the north, it looks like there is a hall that leads past this place. It looks like there are 3 holes similar to the holes you just kind of encountered, that look like they move beyond that space.
So Glint wants to move over here.
Mhm.
There's 2 things I want to check out. One is I want to sort of investigate the snakeskins and see how old they are.
Sure.
See how long they've been here. And then another is, assuming these individuals have been petrified, are there like weapons and armor intact, or are those also petrified?
All petrified, everything.
Okay. And I guess third thing about the statues is sort of assess like what kind of like culture or like historical period they're from.
We already covered that. So it wouldn't be one that you are familiar with, but it is one that Astrogoth has been made aware of. They're the Order.
And I imagine I relayed that.
Oh, okay. So is that contemporary or is that historical?
Historical.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
historical.
Probably
It's all
50 or
old.
so years ago would probably be the last time peoples like this would have been kind of present. But yeah,
Okay.
Astrogoth would be able to tell it looks like they're much older than that, like maybe a couple hundred years. And then the snakeskins, some of them are quite old, brittle, falling apart. Others, not so much. Still have a rigidity to them and look like they're relatively fresh. Some of them are smaller than others. The older ones are smaller. The newer ones are quite much larger. The longest of which is the one in the far left corner there. It looks like it's probably a good 30 feet long.
This one here?
Yeah, it's that kind of one that, yeah.
And that'd be, you said that's like the most recent?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like, is there any sort of value or special properties of these materials?
No, there wouldn't be anything that you could kind of. I suppose if you wanted to, the fresher ones, you could probably use them as an ingredient for snake oil if you had the recipe. But
Orlando's gonna keep moving forward.
I would like to cut. If I was to find one of the newer, fresher snakeskins, I would want to cut one, essentially the width and length and everything, to be that I could wrap it around my head if I was to tie it or something like that.
yeah, kind of like a bandana.
Yeah, or a
Blindfold.
blinder.
Okay.
Way to plan ahead.
Absolutely possible.
Does anybody else? Would anybody else want one of these? I don't know if it'll help, but I mean,
It looks cool. I'll take one.
sure. Let's do the cool thing then.
So Orlandis is gonna tap right here with the spear.
I guess I'll.
Okay. So as you kind of push your spear out into that space, which one do you pick?
I'll do this one first.
Okay. All right. When you put your spear out that direction, what you realize is you're putting your spear into darkness. Like magical darkness seems to be kind of settled inside of the space, maybe about
Oh.
half a foot or a foot below the like top layer. So when you put your spear in, it just kind of disappears.
Okay. Do I feel like solid footing here? Down here?
You keep poking in all the directions, and there doesn't appear to be any solid footing anywhere.
Shit.
What you're also noticing is that there isn't a magical effect that seems to take presence to cause you to kind of like have any gravitational changes.
Okay.
Just the only difference between this space and the other spaces that you're noticing is that there's this magical darkness that's present. And
Okay.
for those of you who have dark vision and may not have gotten a question answered before, what I will say is the darkness that's present in this gap, the darkness that was present in the last gap, very different. This appears to be like magically blocking sight beyond it. That appeared to have been real, actual hole in the ground shit.
This is advanced darkness.
I'm sorry, you're talking about these bands of darkness here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, these are
So-
advanced.
Moving to stand here next to Orlandus, Glint takes the spear he had earlier and takes the haft and reaches it to the spur next to him and taps the ground. Can he feel that?
No, we already covered that. There's no.
Yeah, there's no ground there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, there's
So
no
I'm sorry.
ground
Can
here.
we not see through this darkness?
Yeah, so like if you look down, maybe about 6 inches to a foot down below that, there's a sheet of darkness, and when you poke your spear into it or whatever implement you're using, it just vanishes.
Okay, so this is the darkness. It's not like a wall in front of us between this.
No, it is a hole that descends about a foot, and then that's the
Mhm.
darkness time.
Okay. He reaches out and puts his hand on this wall. Does he feel any weird feathery fuckery?
No, yeah, you're absolutely able to get a grapple on this one. And then, Lose, to answer your question that I just saw, sorry. So this does appear to be the marker of the Queen of Six. The crown, the serpent crown you can see present there. The only different motifs that you're seeing in this one is the eye, where a face should be. Normally it's a beautiful elvish woman's face, where the eye symbol is kind of located. The hair has always been like serpent hair, and the crown has always been 3 snakes kind of together.
Mm.
No problem. Sorry for not catching you before I was looking at something. But yeah, you're able to spider climb, no problem.
Okay. I mean, do we want to keep poking around in this chamber, or we want to kind of cross this gap here?
Let's cross it.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, if you make your way across, no problem.
Yep. He's gonna hand off a rope to Orlandus.
Take that.
One, so that if something happens to him on the way across, he's at least kind of tied off, but also so that once he gets to the other side, it'll be there to kind of help other people cross.
No, nothing happens. You make it across. Once you get to the other side, you'll note that there's a staircase that descends into the floor. On the left side, there's a pillar, and the right side, there's a pillar. The pillars seem to be kind of wreathed on the ground with golden coiled serpents with kind of jade motifs. In the center space, you see a upside down crescent that's kind of placed over an eye symbol. Looking at the eye symbol closer, you will notice that the Cliff of Punishment is settled inside of the center of the iris, but very, very small and finely detailed. And then the symbol that's kind of pointed into it appears to be like the hilt or kind of point of a blade.
Okay.
And Mark, sorry about the dog barking.
It's okay. Orlandus is going to just jump across. And then if it all goes smoothly, he's going to jump across again, and then for a third time.
Okay, so you're just jumping.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So doing so, it doesn't seem to have any issue, and you make it across.
All right. Cool. Cool. So
Yes.
he's gonna.
Castia will do the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Castia, when you do so, I need you to go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw, please.
Find my sheet.
Oh no.
Okay.
Not good.
So as you are jumping from point or the first bridge, call it
Mhm.
bridge, to the second bridge, a green hand flies up out of the darkness and grabs a hold of your leg, causing you to fall flat on your face on the second bridge, and then the
Mhm.
hand starts to drag you into the darkness.
I grab
you
the
lay
rope that
here, and the rope is on who?
they said they had a rope across, didn't they? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're holding onto the rope?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's say you're right behind her. When you jump across the first bridge, I need you to go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no. Not two hands.
I don't know if you caught that, Elizabeth. Dex save, please. Looks like you did. You're typing. Oh, cool. Okay. Well then, I'll just do it, and I'll roll high because I'm awesome.
Sorry.
I crit the shit out of that. Yeah.
Jesus
So,
Christ.
a hand flies up underneath you, but you saw what happened to Cassia. You very quickly stepped to and then jumped to the next one. And what you notice, Lose, as you kind of make it next to Cassia and kind of probably move to aid her, I'm assuming that's what you were going to do, heroic Lose, you see that a number of hands are actually shooting up from the shadows and grasping now. It looked like the first one to kind of pop up went for Castia as if it was catching a scent, and then these other ones kind of just start popping up in turn. What's tricking you out, Glint, is you're looking down at it, and they must be just disembodied hands that are flying up out of darkness because you're not getting any scent on them. They don't seem to be connected to the same ground that everyone else is connected to. These hands are just kind of manifesting out of darkness. Lose, if you kind of grab Castia, and she got a hold of the rope, you're able to kind of like boot at the hand. It's this weird kind of snaky scaled like hand, and you kick it off of her foot, and then you two kind of jump across. A little bit more difficult. You're more or less kind of just throwing Castia at first, and then kind of and then jumping. But once you make it across, the hands continue to bubble, for lack of a better term, out of the darkness. Astrogoth, if you're just sitting there watching it happen, it probably goes on for about a minute before it stops.
Okay.
Why me? What did I do?
Glint is going to move back over here via the wall. And he's going to stand ready with his whip dagger and his rapier to just attack the shit out of any hands that come out to try and dissuade them from attacking
So
his
Astrogoth,
friends.
you have a rope and you have kind of a decent enough strength to hop and skip across. Do you want to, after the minute duration, kind of do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, nothing happens, but
think
when you
that's
make it to the
probably
other
the
side,
last
if everybody looks back, eventually you'll see the hands start kind of erupting out. Seems to be that the trigger is someone kind of jumping across, and they kind of bubble up for about a minute or so, and then just all descend back into darkness.
Okay. Once those are gone, Glint moves back over.
Yeah, if Lose wasn't right behind and she had failed her dexterity saving throw, the next step would have been Tom making a strength saving throw and then me dragging. But
I can fly. I would have gotten back out eventually.
Yeah, we'll see. So in this space, you see statues. These appear to be statues. However, even though they're on plinths and are kind of put in these places of honor, it does seem to be the case that they are very much similar to the statues in the other chamber. There are a total of 3 on this side, on the west wing, and then in the high alcove, there appears to be an actual statue of a similar looking soldier or knight. This one is not highly detailed. This one appears to very much have been crafted. And then it's exactly the same on the opposite side, except that each one of them is kind of wielding their weapons in a kind of unique way, like they were kind of frozen in their own personal martial stance. And Lose, you would actually recognize one of them, the stance I mean, as being very, very familiar. It would be this asshole over here on the right side. You lost a duel to a guy who used a very similar stance. You should know what I'm talking about based on what I just said.
Fucking Hittori.
The first one. That guy.
Oh, we know Hittori's still alive.
No, it's not Hittori. We're not talking about Hittori.
Well, you blame me.
knows-
Wishful thinking.
Elizabeth should know who I'm talking about. I don't need to go into it that much. She's smart.
Oh, it's backstory related. I got you.
But very much that same dueling posture. The sword up, squared off, kind of that same posture. This guy also kind of has similar features. Looks like it might have been some sort of relative.
Yeah, relative.
Indeed, very strange. But yeah, other guys don't seem to ring any bells. The coolest one I would say would probably be this guy. Seems like he's wielding his Gladius style weapon in like an ice pick grip. His shield seems to be kind of more ornate than the others, but yeah, he's definitely the coolest looking one. But yeah, staircase descending down, and as I mentioned, upside down crescent mark, eye symbol in the center of it. In the eye symbol of punishment, and then what appears to be kind of a symbol of a sword motif. But with serpents kind of as the cross guard there.
Since Castia hadn't been there to see the symbol or study it before on the statue outside, she'll study it now. Does it trigger anything?
It's definitely the exact same symbol that was raised before you. It is the glyph of punishment. So it's strange to see it in person. Not in that weird kind of fugue state. But yeah. Looks like Orlandis is already ready to just beef it down the steps, is that right?
Yeah, I'm mostly trying to see if it's magical darkness like that darkness before.
No. It looks like it just descends for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it's regular darkness in the dungeon. It's not advanced darkness in dungeons.
Yes.
So not AD&D. Got it.
Right, correct. And I think this will be the third copy of your characters that we'll be putting on the board.
Oh yeah.
So we now have icons in each.
Oh, my doppelganger has a doppelganger.
I was gonna say while Glint was over there checking out that statue, he would have pulled out his short sword and tried that sort of ice pick grip.
Yeah, feels pretty good. You don't know how he used it in like function, but like the grip feels nice. Coming down
Something
the
to
steps.
consider for the future.
The steps widen as they go down, almost as if you were kind of like at the base of the serpent's tail and you're descending down to the bottom of it. Directly in front of you, you see two stone doors that, as you approach, open. And the next two open. And looking out in front of you, you see a long hallway. Hold on. Why is the light doing that? Hold on.
What? What was it doing?
My light got messed up.
Oh.
Oh, that's weird. That's super weird. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta do some.
Take a screenshot.
How did that happen? It reversed my drawing. Okay, hold on. That's funny. Well, it's weird. I mean, it's kind of cool. Basically, my drawing in effect. And it's still doing it on this map. So strange. Fuck it. I already opened it up. I'll just go ahead and clear the...
Oh, what's that?
So, you see flowing water directly in front of you. Seems like this is kind of connected to the same kind of water from the depths, but you don't know where it's coming from. It definitely looks like it's coming from somewhere. On the left side and on the right side are a total of 3 torches. Each one of the torches has a different marker on it. And Lose, seeing these markers, you're kind of just drawn back to your childhood. You see one marker that would denote the King of 6, the Queen of 6, the Knight of 6, the Page of 6, and so on. The Ace and whatever the last one was, I can't remember. Oh, the Stranger. But yeah, you see all that on each one of these kind of large braziers that are kind of placed in these kind of alcoves. On the pillars are symbols similar to the pillars upstairs. The sun symbols, the Storm Herald. Directly in front of you in a very large open space is what appears to be a solid segment of stone from some other structure, not the one that you're in, that seems to have deposited itself in this space. Almost as if it came from a totally different world. And once again, Lose is kind of filled with a recognition. The stone in question looks like it actually came from one of the architectural structures on the opposite side of the ley line. Looks like this is a structure that was built by the elves in Ain Karad. You see more people, for lack of a better term, kind of frozen about. Looks like one was trying to hide behind a pillar here, almost nailed it. And others, they all appear to have been a part of the same pack from what you can tell. And the only one that appears to have different armaments is there's one that looks like he had a spear, kind of up towards the north. When you enter into the larger chamber, you will see that there are three on each side, large serpent heads. They kind of coil up and down, and you can see that on the top of their head there is a bright red ruby that seems to kind of glisten and sparkle in the firelight, seeing that there are more torches above. As you look at the large structure in the center of this chamber, you would see that coiled on it is a decently sized, large, serpentine coil or figure. No prominence, nothing that you can kind of tell about it other than it is alive. And as you get within 30 feet of it, it does have a heartbeat. It appears to be a thing that is alive and awake, or alive and alive. Awake is when you kind of step into the space. You hear kind of a hissing sound, and then a feminine figure kind of comes up out of the coil. She'll take her full size, and it slithers up, her eyes closed, as she kind of peers at you. You watch as all of the serpents on her head, which appear to form her hair, kind of look towards you.
I would like
her
to say that
eyes are closed.
basically as soon as she starts moving around, Glint averts his gaze.
Yep. And if anybody else wants to do
Blindfold.
likewise, you certainly can. The serpent lady, she does appear to have a serpentine body from the waist down. She has kind of a greenish color to her whole personage. Bright, kind of purplish serpents on her head, which appear to have taken the place of her hair. Her eyes being closed, you're not certain what they look like, and I'm sure based on what you're thinking, you would not want to know. She looks at you with her hair serpents, all of them kind of pointed towards you, and in perfect Elvish, she says, "You smell of a place I have not seen in so long, child." And it seems the snakes kind of focus in on Lose. And since she's not able to reply in a meaningful way, and we are about 4 minutes close to the end of it, I'm going to leave the session at that. We will pick up with the Queen of Six next Friday. See you then, folks.